See this? This is my boomstick!
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said, I drank what?
Did you have a shave?
Take off, eh?
Hey, I guess they're right. Senior citizens, although slow and dangerous behind the wheel, can still serve a purpose.
Why don't you just sit there and bleed a while before you taste some real pain?
It's not Irish. It's not English.
How are you?
Well, what is my conscience for the horses, you know?
It's just, well, it's just piking.
I do it because I have, like, a good memory, because I'm cognitively there.
We have that. It's as wide as it can be.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Hold on, let me fade the music down, and there's overlapping things on my desktop. And hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. So glad I'm here. There's been a lot of doings today. The kittens all went to get broken this morning. You'll be glad to know. I refuse to use the phrase fixed because you don't fix something that works. You break it so that it no longer works. So we had the kittens broken today, and they're going to remain broken for the foreseeable future until medical science allows, you know, the undoing of kitty vasectomies or whatever. So, so I'm glad you guys could be here. Welcome to the show. If you're new, which some of you, quite frankly, are, not just to the show but to Earth, I would like to welcome all of the other side that seem to jump on here regularly now, as we are apparently making some sort of a dent. So they need to send the troops over here, and it's not working. I mean, I appreciate the attention, but you're not fooling anyone, and you're incredibly amusing. But I appreciate the algorithm boost, and if you're looking for, like, the pro-Antifa, burn-it-all-down television show, this ain't it. So, but good luck flailing about. And hi, everybody who's here just to actually maintain their sanity and get through this crazy period that we all find ourselves in. And hopefully at the end of it, healthfully and with some semblance of our sanity left. Although I'm starting to question my own, because I, like Chris Titus today, had a laughing fit that was nearly to the point of, I think people with extreme COVID could breathe easier. It was nuts. I was wheezing. Hi. Hello. Evening. Hello. Hi, everybody. Yes, that's it. This is a dose of sanity. Again, and also a reminder that take a little bit of life right now with a grain of salt, okay? Thank you, Megan. I work at a lab. I wear my mask for you. Please wear your mask for me. Oh, we've got multiple masks, Megan. We got sets of masks in all of our cars. We have a box of temp masks in case we pick somebody up and they have to go with us, or we meet somebody and they don't have a mask. Like, hey, might want to put this on before we start talking. How you doing? So we're good on that, and that's awesome. I will say, though, that the important thing is building a resilient kind of capacity, I suppose, for the PTSD that is coming. We're gonna be living through some gnarly stuff. We already have, and it's not gonna, to quote the president, it's gonna get worse before it gets better, which is what we've all been saying during his entire presidency. And again, I have so much respect for our flag, our democracy, our Constitution, our history, our country, our system of government, our peaceful transition of power, all those things. I take all those far too seriously to give even an inch of ground to this orange shit gibbon who apparently thinks we should all be impressed by his ability to say person woman, man, camera, TV. Honestly, this is our president.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Okay, great, cool. All right. That's the debates. That's it. Honestly, if Biden comes out and goes, each candidate will have this, please start your opening statement, and Biden goes, good evening, I'm Joe Biden, I'm running for president. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. Can we just get this over with? Apparently, I aced it, spiked the ball. Good God. Really? This is my favorite. Well, we're going to watch that later. We're not doing that first. That would be too easy. That's the dessert. Yeah, those are... He accidentally gave out his Bitcoin passwords. Because in Bitcoin, don't you have to have like 19 different words in a row, and that's how you code everything? And all these assholes who put all their money in Bitcoin vapor lock and die without giving the list of words to a friend or somebody, so all this money just vanishes. Especially these Bitcoin accountants. Oh my God. How much trouble. Julie! Yay! Hi, Julie. Long time no see. Hello. Oh, it's so reassuring when we see some people that haven't been around in a while, because I'm like, please don't have something bad happen. Please, please, please. So anyways, hi. Yes, that was the cognitive test.
Give us that again. Can you do that again? And you go person, woman, man, camera, TV. 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes later, they say, remember the first question? Not the first, but the 10th question?
We'll get to that. I had to grab those earlier because when they happened, I was like, those are all going to be sound bites going forward. Oh, God. Oh, I'm going to start laughing at some point, and I'm going to lose it, and we're not going to be able to finish the show. Because how is that not like a rap right now?
I do it because I have like a good memory, because I'm cognitively there.
This is going to be so good. Oh, God. All right, so... I know it's going to happen. It's coming back. I swear to God, it's going to be awesome. But we're going to see, first thing we're going to do, though, is the second task force briefing that isn't a task force briefing. This, please. And by the way, I don't just have that clip from that interview. I have the whole interview. There you go. See, I can tell Nicki Minaj in there is genuine, because when they said you're really funny, they spelled "you're" correctly. All the people who say you're not funny always spell it Y-O-U-R with no apostrophe and no E. Oh boy, this is it's gorgeous. So let's get started, shall we? Because this is, I have no doubt, this is going to be prime stuff.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, and he's got his own mini Kayleigh McEnany binder, and Burks is coming out, I think. Is that Burks walking out? Yeah, there she is in her plague doctor coat.
Thank you. We've had a tremendous week uniting the country in our fight against the China virus.
Oh, have we? We've had it. Guys, it's been a great week. I don't know if you know this. It's been super.
Reminded people of the importance of masks.
No. You came around to the idea of wearing masks because of that picture behind you, which is the South on fire. Because you didn't give a shit about masks when it was the Northeast. Or the Northwest, or quite frankly, the Chicagoland, Michigan area.
When you can't socially distance in particular. A strong message has been sent out to young people to stop going to crowded bars and other crowded places.
As strong as one of your
Yesterday
screens
we made
going out? Wait. Hold on. Where's the strong message slide? Bring it up on the right. Come on. Control room? Yeah, we lost TV number 1. Yeah. No, not your left. My left. My left. Where are you? Well, everything's on your right if you're on that side of the room. To the right of the president's when you're looking from the one that's off, asshole.
Amazing announcement.
Better, thank you. God.
For our plans to protect nursing home residents. We're working very hard on that. We're doing very
Well, maybe work smart.
well all over the country.
Thanks, Benelogo.
And also about contracting with Pfizer. We made a big, beautiful contract with Pfizer.
It was a big, beautiful contract. It was sexy. It was a sexy contract. A big, beautiful contract. Because contracts, I mean, there's some contracts that are like, but you ever sign a Butterface contract or a Fugly contract? This one's a BBW contract. What?
We think they're very close, but we had...
This contract is so hot. If it wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating it.
A lot of companies that are very close to produce a vaccine. And I wanted to come out again today to share some additional news with you. This
Oh, good.
afternoon, my political team came to me and laid out our plans for the convention in Jacksonville, Florida.
Don't care. This is campaign shit. Why are you doing this from the White House? We don't care. This is not news for the rest of us. Nobody cares. Why is this news that needs to be said from the presidential podium? Honest to God. This is something the RNC puts out a press release about, and you answer.
It's a
two-bagger contract. Honestly, this is the last contract I would go home with at the bar at last call.
I love that state.
I love it so much. I was going to bring a bunch of contagious assholes who don't wear masks from one state there until they told me I couldn't.
The drawings look absolutely beautiful. I never thought we could have something look so good so fast with...
The drawings look absolutely beautiful? Oh my God. Did he Sharpie out the convention for everyone?
everything going on.
Wait, with everything going on, you couldn't imagine that the RNC would do their campaign and convention work? Why? Oh my God, have they put the RNC in charge of, like, policing the streets? Is that what it is? There's so many people from the RNC that are currently wearing combat fatigues and masks and abducting people on the streets of America. I never thought they could get the chairs unfolded.
And everything was going well. A tremendous list of speakers. Thousands of people wanting to be there, and I mean, in some cases, desperately be there.
Really? Can we interview some of these people? I must go to Jacksonville. We have to have a live convention. I have nothing without desperate. Oh.
They wanted to attend, people making travel arrangements all over the country. They wanted to be there. The pageantry, the signs, the excitement were really top of the line. But I looked...
Top of the line excitement. Top of the line. None of this second-rate, low-rung excitement. None of this cheap dollar store pageantry. This incessant need to, like, exaggerate everything. It's just pathetic.
My team and I said, the timing for this event is not right.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Like, he's not the one that called it off. His team? No. The people, what is it? The chief of police in Jacksonville said, we can't do security for this friggin' thing. You don't pay your bills. The RNC is going to dump a bunch of diseased assholes on our town and then leave without paying the check.
It's just not right with what's happening.
We don't even know where we'll house all the male hookers. Honestly, all the hotels are used up with people with mid-range COVID.
Recently, the flare-up in Florida.
Oh, it's a flare-up now. I thought it was a flamey flame.
To have a big convention, it's not the right time. It's...
What are you going to do, have a little puttery convention then?
It's really something that, for me, I have to protect the American people. That's
from my people?
What I've always done. That's what I always will do. That's what...
No. Dude, you just went, wearing a mask is a good idea. You should do it 2 days ago, and then that night you weren't wearing one.
They said, sir, we can make this work very easily. We have great enthusiasm, incredible enthusiasm.
Enthusiasms.
Even the polls say about the most enthusiasm they've seen.
Oh, yeah. So the only voters that he has left are psychopaths who sniff his farts and call it potpourri. And their enthusiasm is what's making him feel good. Yeah, a sir story. Totally a bullshit sir story. They came up to me and said, sir,
we can do this safely and we can
do it, but they won't let us. So you should probably pretend it was your idea and call it off.
Responsibly. And I said, there's nothing more important in our country than keeping our people safe.
Yeah, that's why I had to write it on this piece of paper. There is nothing more important in this country than keeping our people safe. Who wrote this bullshit? I know it wasn't Stephen. He wouldn't even let those words come out of his face in that order.
Whether that's from the China virus or the...
Excuse me, it's not the China virus anymore. It's the Washington State virus. Because the Chinese could have stopped it. They could have let it in. But then it got to Washington State, to an old folks' home, and now we're all plagued with the old folks' home virus. And I could have stopped it, but I chose not to.
Like a left mob that you see in Portland, where...
Oh, that's what they're worried about, is all the Antifa guys who are going to drive down from Portland for the RNC. Why? To set fires when they could just let you assholes get sick on your own with no help? Yeah, the Trump virus came in, patented that.
Thank Homeland.
Thank you so much. Oh, I missed that one. Who was that? That was thank you for the super chat. It hasn't shown up on my thing. Oh, Raphael. Thank you, Raphael.
Security and others in law enforcement for doing a fantastic job over the last...
Law enforcement? Law enforcement. Just
few days. They went in on... People were out of control for 51 days, a long time, and Homeland Security and other law enforcement with us.
Came in and it was just fading, and then we made it a lot worse, and everybody videotaped us snatching our confidential informants off the street, and it caused more protests because of our agent provocateurs that we had in the crowd ratcheting up the violence, and we had to get them out of there before somebody caught on.
Went in and they've done a great job. Protecting our property, federal courthouse and other property, and most importantly, protecting our people, or the senseless violence.
Our people? I got bad news for you. Even the Antifa assholes, and they are assholes, are our people. I mean, they don't vote and participate in society, and most of them, think like shitty graffiti is an act of political warfare, but they are our people.
Said you see in Chicago or New York.
Not my people. They're Americans, is my point. Check yourself.
York or Detroit, a lot of other cities where so many people are shot.
Shot? Wish I could have met you. Hey, man! Have fun! Shot! That's why I say, hey, man, I shot.
And so many people are...
What a nice shot, man.
Killed. And people elected me to help and to protect.
To help. And you think you've been doing that? By going, people wear a mask, they want to wear a mask, they should wear a mask, but they don't have to wear a mask. I think I'm against the idea that we would mandate, and I think people should have the freedom to, So
I told my team it's time to cancel.
Thank you, Amy.
The Jacksonville, Florida component of the...
Don't like the stereotyping of Antifa, but okay, no problem. I'm talking about the organization. They can go piss up a rope. What organization there is.
GOP convention will be starting in North Carolina for the Monday, as has always been planned. We were never taking that off. That's remaining as it is. The delegates are going to get together. That's where they do their nomination. So the delegates are going to North Carolina.
Why? Why can't you teleconference something like that? Seriously. Like, the convention started because there was no form of telecommunication at all. Like, these things predate phones. They predate technically a nationwide mail system. So people had to ride in on a horse carrying all the shit with all the written documents that say this is who our state voted for. And it took them weeks.
They'll be doing the nomination.
Do it on the phone. Zoom it. What's wrong with you?
And we're going to do some other things with Telerallies and online the week.
Telerallies. Those are so good. I look forward to doing the Telerallies. My favorite is the pictures your team chooses to put over them. I recommend next time the taco bowl with the Sudafed showing and the picture of you with Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm sorry, one of the pictures of you. You know what? Why not have a GIF of, a loop of you making Epstein laugh? Put that one in there.
That we're discussing, which will be really good. I think we're going to do it well. And I'll still do a convention speech.
Oh, that'll be good. From where?
In a different form.
Oh, you're just gonna he's gonna do it like as a hologram, like Tupac or Princess Leia. Help me, Vladimir Putin. You're my only hope.
We won't do a big, crowded convention per se.
Oh, so it'll be a shitty one like Tulsa. Gotcha.
It's just not the right time for that. I care deeply about the people of Florida and everywhere else, frankly, in this country and even in the world.
I am a god after all. Unconditional love, except those people gotta go. And I love everyone in Florida. That's why I went, well, most of the people who die from this are old.
Who would be coming into the state, and I don't want to do anything to upset it.
Then you might want to not go to any state right now.
They'll be doing very well very shortly.
I got the power. And
to put some maps up of the country behind me, and you'll
they're already there.
See that the area that we're talking about is a hot spot.
They're gonna put the maps up? When's that gonna happen?
You'll also see a lot of the country.
It's almost like the camera is going, hey, asshole. They're already there. They're gonna put,
has no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. This is supposed to be a COVID-related task force briefing. Remember, he was going to restart the task force briefings. That's what this is. And what has he talked about so far? The RNC Convention. Don't give a shit.
Of the country, actually. So I'm always going to take care of you, so that's the way we're going to do it.
This is really the hard sell.
Spoken to Governor DeSantis and informed other political leaders. I want to thank the Jacksonville community and its great mayor. He's a great guy, really great guy. They wanted it so badly.
Oh yeah, I saw the footage. They were desperate for it. Please, we've got one hospital bed left. Someone come and fill it, please.
And all of the other political representatives in Jacksonville and in Florida, and just very special people, a very special group. And
so I'd rather not bring a bunch of QAnon suck-up psychopaths who don't believe in masks to cough all over everyone and lick the windows of every Domino's pizza in town.
They were there for us 100%. Today, I want to provide an update on the actions we're taking to support the safe reopening of America's schools.
Oh, good. All right. So now we're finally getting to something that's supposed to be part of the task force briefing.
Parents are.
By the way, they got to bring us closer on that on that chart because they are not bothering to color in anything that has something like 200 to 500 cases per 100,000. So if you have less than 200 per 100,000, it's all white, which is, you know, a pretty decent indication in some of these areas, although...
On the world who have had their children home for the last few months have a greater appreciation for the fact that teachers are essential workers, that they're essential to our children's future.
Yeah, so we don't want them to die, so learn from home for a while. Sorry, one semester is not going to fuck you up. Stay home. Stop acting like 5 or 6 months to deal with a pandemic of this magnitude is the end of the constitutional republic and we have to open everything up, otherwise we're no longer America, jackass.
Our goal is to protect our teachers and students from the China virus while ensuring that families with high risk factors can continue to participate from home. Very important.
Yeah. Name the high risk factors and then name how 60% of America doesn't have obesity related comorbidities, hypertension, diabetes, prediabetes, neurological disorders.
The American Academy of Pediatrics has released guidance recommending that schools...
Ever your students are Chinese? Well, tell them I said, 你好, 学生.
...reopen. It said...
你有一个最好的老师. How about that? You have a great teacher.
Quote, lengthy time away from school and associated interruption of supportive services often results in a social isolation, making it difficult for schools to identify and address important learning deficits as well.
Oh, for Christ's sakes, it's 2 months off the last year and 4 months out of the next year till we get a handle on this. Opening in November is an unnecessary risk. It's dumb. And kids aren't going to fall apart because of something that happened for 4 months in their lives. Especially if you tell them this is going to pass as well, this is all part of life, sometimes shit happens. Kids didn't go to... You think English kids who lived during World War II, you know why they missed school? Because of the Luftwaffe, you asshole.
As child and adolescent physical and sexual abuse.
Oh my God, and this whole thing, that schools really only serve as early warning signs of physical and sexual abuse. That's their primary goal. Here's what you do. You want to be a grown-up about this shit and not cause a giant contagion outbreak? Get all your school, like your principal, your vice principal, the social workers who operate with the school, people from Child Protective Services, and go through the list of the problem kids that you've had all year, because there's not going to be any new shit necessarily, just some people that you've had on mark for a while, and you do wellness visits with some regularity, and you make the parents know, we got our eye on you, and you set up foster situations where you can pull them out if that's the problem. Christ! P.S. He wishes Ghislaine Maxwell well.
Substance.
I hope she gets out soon so she can open that orphanage she's always dreamed of for hot Ukrainian 12-year-olds. Jesus
Abuse,
Christ.
Depression and suicidal ideation.
Yeah, and you know how you don't trap people in suicidal ideation? One of the ways is you don't go, this should be over quickly. I don't know why we don't just, everything's there. So they think it's just them. You go, this may take 6 to 8 months. So we're going to get through this. And we're going to have a strategy psychologically and intellectually and physically to get through this. We all need to work out more, make sure we're getting our vitamins, all that kind of stuff. You don't just go, I don't know why you're not back at work. Everybody else is fine. And then you're scared because you've been listening to the real news. And this asshole tells you should be back in school in November. And you think it's you. That's where it comes from.
This in turn places children and adolescents at considerable risk of morbidity and of some cases mortality.
Mortality was the word on the paper and he misread it. So it's both now.
Beyond the educational impact.
See, this is the difference between Biden's gaffes and Trump's gaffes. is Biden's gaffes are all accidents, and if you correct him because he has a stutter and he's been fighting it his whole life, and you go, you said 1,000,000 when you meant 1,000. He'll go, did I? And you go, yeah. And you go, oh, well, shit. 1,000, absolutely. You know, that clarified. Trump would go, no, thousands. It is thousands. No, it's millions. It's both thousands and millions. It's millions of thousands. We need millions of thousands of doses of a drug that doesn't work.
Social impact of school closures. There's been a substantial impact on food security and physical activity for children and for families. So that's very important. And there's a highway, it goes both ways. The National Education Association recently stated, despite the momentous efforts of educators during the pandemic, online learning has never been an effective replacement for in-person learning.
Hear that, homeschoolers? All you rednecks and QAnons and maggots and people who actually believe in homeschooling, you are second-class citizens, according to President Donald John Trump. That's right. If you homeschool, your kid is not only getting less of an education, but probably the only reason you're keeping them home is so you can sexually and physically abuse them. What a wonderful message to the homeschoolers of America. There he is.
And support. Being at the school, being on the campus is very, very important.
I'm a fan, but if let's just say sort of that your classroom is on fire, and if you go inside, you will either die of smoke inhalation or burn alive yourself. Now's not the time to go into the classroom, even though it is preferable for students to learn in a classroom. P.S. Also, homeschoolers are full of shit, according to the president.
One study estimates that due to school closures last
Roseanne says, who cares about your opinion? Obviously you do. You're here. Wah.
spring, the average student will begin this school year roughly 35% behind in reading compared to the typical year, and more.
Says who? Why is that a necessity? My kid's been doing school all summer, just like he would be in a regular school year. First of all, kids were home, in most cases, 4 to 6 weeks earlier than they would normally be. And so the summer is a month longer, okay? But over the course of this, you can either summer school your kid, thank you, Brian. Yeah, and like, honestly, if you homeschool your kids, like a lot of us have been doing, you're covering a lot of ground. My kid's on like the 5th level of Rosetta Stone Chinese now. They don't teach that during the school day, but he does it after he's finished with his social studies, his prodigy math, his English grammar, and what else does he have? His history, and he's got a science and engineering module that he does. There's 5 classes. It takes him about 2 hours to do those 5 modules a day, which actually have 3 modules per one. That was one we had to work out. That was a little rough. We finished one, and the 3rd day he was doing the test, and I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm doing the test. And I'm like, no. You do this whole line, this module, and then you get tested. And then the next day they'll have a review test, and then you do that part. Like, oh, okay. So then we're doing entire rows, like 3 class things at a time. Now he's got it. It's a machine. And he's on Prodigy longer than I make him doing math problems. Christ. Oh, my kid is absolutely doing grammar. When you talk for a living, it's kind of important. My uncle was the grammar doctor. That's what they called him. Back when the presidency, when the people in the administration used to care about grammar, during the Clinton years and during Reagan, they called my uncle 2 or 3 times to check the proper grammar on phrases that they were either translating from somebody else or that the president was trying to say something in a tense that was kind of rarely used, and they checked it with him. How cool is that?
50% behind in math. That's a big statement. According to McKinsey & Company, learning loss will probably be greatest among low-income Black and Hispanic students. They're the ones that are hit the hardest. We don't want.
They're always the ones hit the hardest. You want to do something about it? Fix the schools in their neighborhoods, dickhead.
Happening. 30 million American students rely on schools for free and reduced meals. Over 70% of the students who receive mental health services do so through their schools.
Right. So provide mental health services at home for the kids that need them, or set up telehealth for all those kids. That's not a reason to send them into a contagion zone. Okay, look, most of you are used to getting your hot meals at schools. And I understand there's a zombie outbreak, and the building is completely overrun, and the janitor has been chewing the necks out of everyone. But you gotta go, because that's where the snacks are.
According to HHS, 1 in 5 reports allegedly having to do with child abuse. They have neglect. And these are neglect, and neglected cases are submitted by education personnel.
Right. What, and the rest are what? Nosy neighbors? That is not the prerequisite of school in person. Again, set up a system if you're worried about abused kids. And don't give me this "you're worried about abused kids" bullshit when you've separated 800 children from their parents at the border in 1 year and lost 200 of them. You don't even know where they are. Or do you? Who's the real Pizzagate?
So people in the education world on the premises will be the ones that report neglect and other problems when they see the children. They know if they've been neglected. They know if they've been hurt or harmed in any way.
Yeah. You want to send some people out going, "Oh, it's interesting. This kid's been living alone in this house for 3 weeks. He hasn't shown up for school." Oh, that's because he brought COVID home, and all of his family who didn't have insurance all died in the building. They all turned blue and fell over, and he didn't know to call 911 because he thought they would take him away, and he was scared.
Whether it's at home or someplace else, but they see this at school. You don't get to see that if you're not going to school. It's a big thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing, but it's not bigger than bringing COVID home to kill your family.
Fortunately, the data shows the children are lower risk from the China virus very substantially.
Yeah, because there is no such thing as the China virus. They're at lower risk from SARS-CoV-2, SARS-CoV-1, MERS. They're at lower risk from dying from the flu, all respiratory illnesses, unless they have asthma or they're predisposed to that, in which case a lot of kids do. But we're not talking about keeping the asthmatics out, are we? We haven't mentioned that at all.
When children do contact the virus, they often have only very mild symptoms.
Contract the virus. When they get it in their system, not when they contact it. Although kids will contact everything. Some of the kids in my kids' elementary school class are booger eaters. I've seen it happen.
Or none at all.
At least it's their own boogers. I suppose that's one silver lining.
And medical
Speaking of booger eaters, what were you saying, sir?
complications are exceedingly rare.
Yeah. Except what did we lose? 4 this week? Under the age of 9?
Those that do face complications often have underlying medical conditions.
Oh, so they were going to die anyways. You know what I mean? And we know what those are. Don't we? Do we know what all the underlying conditions are? Do we? Oh, no, we don't, actually. Oh, good. Because we know the kids didn't have diabetes or were obese. Was there an obese 8-year-old?
99% of all China virus hospitalizations are adults, and 99.96% of all fatalities are adults. That means...
Yeah, over the age of 18. Half of those people, and there's a lot of them, half of them, that half that's killed, you know that like we lose 70,000 to 40,000 people to the flu every year, and we hear all that shit, and like 90% of those people are either really young kids who don't have an immune system to respond yet, or are really old. Okay, so about 43% of the people who have died from COVID-19 are older people who are kind of have a comorbidity that would kill them like the flu would. An equal number of the people we lose to the flu every year so far have died in a month and a half, in 2 months, have died from COVID-19 between the ages of 18 and 65, the group that isn't normally killed by the flu. And by the way, the older folks who are in the flu range, just because they died of COVID-19 doesn't mean the flu would have just got them this year anyways. That, they don't just deserve to die, unless that's the case you're making, and that's why Jacksonville told you to go pound sand. Half of the people, more than half, because 43% are over the age of 65. So 57% of the people are between 18 and 65. You know, the people who run the country and work and show up at jobs and are firemen and doctors and nurses. People who actually are ambulatory and employed normally.
That children are a tiny percentage, less than 1%, and even a small percentage of 1%.
No.
In a typical year, the flu
results
in more deaths of those under 18 in the United States than have been lost thus far to the coronavirus. Many different
look, they wrote coronavirus on it for him, and he actually read it. Oh, thanks, Cynthia.
names, many different names.
Yeah, that's the coronavirus is not the name of this one. There are lots of coronaviruses. It's the shape of the cell structure that gives it its name. Looks like a crown. Looks like the corona around the sun. Looks all spiky like that. That's where coronavirus comes from. That's why when you dipshits pick up a thing of Lysol, it says kills coronavirus. It's not some plan by the UN and Agenda 21 because they knew it was coming, because why would you put it on a label of a cleaning supply early? Guys, you can't greenlight the New World Order labels until I tell you to. The reason it says coronavirus is because there's lots of coronaviruses. This is a novel coronavirus. The reason he thinks it has multiple names is because he thinks novel coronavirus is a name for it. It isn't. It's a description of what kind of disease it is. It is a new coronavirus. It's called SARS-CoV-2, and it causes COVID-19. The 19 comes from 2019, the year it was discovered. The last year. So, are we all caught up? Oh, good.
Of every child is sacred and must be protected.
But we need our economy open, so screw them.
Our sole focus is the health and well-being of America's children. I have a very, very special person who loves children, who's I think one of the greatest athletes of all time. A lot of people say the greatest pitcher of all time. Known as a relief pitcher, could have been whatever he wanted. Some people, he is the greatest reliever of all time by far, substantially more saves than anybody else. In fact, he got the Presidential Medal of Freedom recently. And I'm reading off these stats. I knew he was the best. I knew he was great, but I didn't know it was almost double anybody else. But he's a man who loves children, has children, loves children, works hard with children. We're going to go outside and be with some little leaguers. Mariano Rivera, you know, he's the Sandman, right? My wife said, darling, why do they call him the Sandman? I said, you know, they play the song. He just puts the batters to sleep. And that's exactly what happened. So having Mariano here is a great honor. Thank you very much. He was talking about children.
Enter Sandman? Do they play Enter Sandman when he walks out? Christ, that was a rambling. By the way, do you not love children and have children? This asshole has a bunch of kids. What? Why can't you articulate? We both have children. We both share a love for children. Although it's awkward for him to say, I love children, after saying, I wish Ghislaine Maxwell well. That's probably why he can't say it. I take it back. That's why. That's exactly why. I can't say I love children. People will know what I mean.
Schools. And there's nobody that's done more than you have. Thank you very much, Mariano. Fantastic man. Given these considerations, we believe many school districts can now reopen safely, provided they implement mitigation measures and health protocols to protect families, protect teachers, and to protect students. And we do have to.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, they can't. Kids aren't going to separate. Kids aren't going to stay apart. Little kids aren't, especially. Basically, you need daycare for people to go back to work. That's all this is about. Yeah, he said Melania has a son together. I should grab that one. That's a good break in there. You know,
we have that. It's as wide as it can be.
You know,
protect the teachers and the families also. We have to remember that all families should be empowered to make the decision that is right for their own circumstance.
No, that's ridiculous. You know what the decision is? To educate your child. How you educate your child is a communal decision because you're sending them into a group. And if you're one of these window-licking assholes who won't wear a mask and then suddenly goes, your last words when you die of COVID are, I think I made a mistake because you went to a COVID party to knock boots with a bunch of other boating psychopaths. Why would I want my kid in the same room with your kid? And how do I know? Are we going to have a parental meeting? Is every parent going to sign a waiver that says, don't send your kid to school if anybody in the house is sick? Every parent has the right to educate their child. Most of us would like access to a public education because of the communal aspect of it and because of the consistency of the education, and then we can augment it ourselves, either through private education or adding something on or after they get out of it, right? That's pretty normal. Send them to a private university or a private school, or send them to summer school or CUMON, or homeschool them after school and add STEM training if they're not getting it. That's fine. All that's fine. But this is not the same thing as every parent has a right to drop their kid off at school. That's what this is.
This is especially important if a child has underlying health conditions or lives with a parent or grandparent who's at higher risk. In cities or states that are current hotspots, and you'll see that in the map behind me.
You mean the entire South, where you guys were like, I guess some governors are more talented.
Districts may need to delay reopening for a few weeks, and that's possible. That'll be up to governors. The decision should be made based on the data and the facts on the grounds in each community, but every district should be actively making preparations to open. Again, the children obviously have a very strong immune system.
No, they don't. It has nothing to do with the strength of the immune system when you're fighting off COVID-19. It has everything to do with the fact that your immune system has not been exposed to a vast majority of other coronaviruses, so you don't have a cytokine storm as an overreaction because you've experienced so many germs over the course of your life. The cytokine storm is an immunological response where your body is attacking itself. That's why the treatments for MS are being very effective. That's why the beta interferon is a good treatment right now, because it's your immune system that overreacts. It's not that kids have a hyper strong immune system. It's just that everything is new, so they fight it the same. They don't kill themselves in the process. Christ, I'm like, read your briefing. Let Burks come up and talk. And she's full of shit, but at least she knows this part.
Maybe even as strong as yours. They seem...
Hey, because you're a baseball player. You know, the healthiest of athletes, right next to golfers.
To be able to fight it off and not have a problem. So it's pretty amazing, actually. Great.
No, it isn't. It's to be expected. The majority of non-infants, as far as children who get the flu every year, survive it for the exact same reason.
Great credit. Our strategy to safely reopen schools mirrors our approach nationwide. As we race toward the completion of a vaccine and therapeutics, the responsible path is to shelter those at highest risk while allowing those at lower risk, much lower in the case of young children, to resume work at school, and as long as everyone practices vigilant hygiene and so.
Vigilant hygiene. So you're going to have a bunch of 10-year-olds practicing vigilant hygiene. Good luck with that.
Social distancing. We want that. A permanent shutdown was never the strategy, which would.
Nobody ever said permanent shutdown. Nobody. Why do you think stopping for this semester or delaying the opening of schools, when we know that there are vaccines on the horizon, we know that there's growth in therapeutics, would mean a permanent shutdown? What kind of an asshole even floats that as some sort of reasonable conversation? Who ever suggested a permanent shutdown? Seriously. Has anybody called for, have we got one soundbite anywhere of someone saying permanent shut, we need to just shut the world down and leave it that way? We just need to keep, yeah.
Ultimately lead to greater mortality and irreversible harms. We don't want to do that. At the same time, we have to get our economy going. We had tremendous numbers issued yesterday. Housing pricing of housing up 21%. It's the highest in history. It's the highest number in history, real estate housing.
Yeah, because people are moving out of expensive states with lots of people.
Today, the CDC will provide additional guidance for how schools can reopen safely. I hope that local leaders put the full health and well-being of their students first and make the right decision for children, parents, teachers, and not make political decisions. This isn't about politics. It's about something very, very important. This is not about politics. I even think it's bad politics if you do the wrong decision.
Yeah, it is. And opening them unnecessarily is bad politics, dummy.
Bad politics. We're asking Congress to provide $105 billion to schools as part of the next coronavirus relief bill. This funding will support mitigation measures such as smaller class sizes, more teachers and teacher aides,
teachers' aides.
Repurposing spaces.
Unless we're giving aids to teachers now, which, considering your response to coronavirus outbreaks, that might be the plan. I know. You know how I said we should nuke hurricanes? Maybe if we give COVID aids.
To practice social distancing and, crucially, mask wearing. This money is in addition to the $30 billion we secured for schools and universities earlier this year. That money we have, some is distributed and some is not distributed. If schools do not reopen, the funding should go to parents to send their child to public, private, charter, religious, or homeschool of their choice.
The homeschool of their choice. Honey, we've got you in a brand new school. Yeah, you're going to the Thompsons 2 doors down. We're moving. The homeschool of their choice. Is that a thing? Do you send everyone to a neighbor's kid? Why am I so childish? Because I'm dealing with a child. Because he deserves no better.
The key word being choice.
The key word being choice. Here's a choice: to not go to school or be counted as truant because you are being forced to go back to school during an epidemic.
If the school is closed, the money should follow the student, so the parents and families are in control of their own decisions. So we'd like the money to go to the parents of the...
What? So you're just defunding public schools. That's what this is about. Okay, there we go. So we're just going to pay parents to school or not school their children. So are we investing in an army of people to check on the status of homeschooled children to make sure that they're meeting state standards? Are there state standards? Why would we have that? I mean, what's the choice? If I want to teach my kids that John is going to land a Piper Cub on Pennsylvania Avenue and arrest Hillary Clinton because Pizzagate and Russiagate were two totally different things, and just because something has gate on the back end of it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but also slavery was not the reason we fought the Civil War, and also Earth is flat. That's fine. That's fine. They should get as much money as anybody sending their kid to a public school who will know how to read a stop sign and stop their car at an intersection and not drive through it and kill a bunch of people.
Student. This way they can make the decision that's best for them.
No. No, dude. We're not vouchering every student in the entire country while taxpayers pay for public schools to exist. Homeschool of their choice. They can all send them to Gacy's house down the block.
We cannot
It's funny. They all come back a little weirded out.
Definitely stop 50 million American children from going to school, harming their mental, physical, and emotional development.
How much do you think it would hurt their mental and physical development if they brought a disease home that killed their grandmother?
Opening our schools is also critical to ensuring that parents can go to work and provide.
That's what we're talking about. This is just a daycare. The people who are sexually abusing their children need to get back to work.
Their families. The Council of Economic Advisors estimates that 5.6 million parents will be unable to return to work if schools do not reopen this.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're going to need to provide some sort of solution for those folks. Would be a good idea. By the way, when they're spray tanning you, don't grimace. Don't go like this, because it creates 2 hash marks in between your eyebrows, and it just looks bad because you had a crease there, and this skin bubbles up, so it gets more of the tanning stuff. And then when they dust your nose, it takes it all off and makes this big white line with your eyes, so you look like the letter Y or something. It's very weird.
Here, it's a tremendous problem.
Yeah, you know what's a tremendous problem? COVID-19. It's killed 144,000 Americans. Closer to 200,000, underreported, but there you go.
Tremendous problem. Schools have to open safely, but they have to open.
No, they don't have to open. They don't have to open. You have to come up with a solution that helps the kids get educated and stay safe at the same time. That doesn't necessarily mean that schools have to open for it to happen. If you want to talk about this is the biggest effort since World War II. We've marshaled everything and we've created a situation better than blah, blah, blah. If you want to do that, if that's your line, then do it. Set up a bunch of child protective services and counselors and stuff to do wellness checks on the kids that are most in danger of being sexually or physically abused, because the teachers at the school knew it, but they didn't ever say anything because they weren't sure about it for a while or whatever. You create a red list, and then you go to each student's house every other day and shuffling it like graduation at a big school, just in alphabetical order, and then you rotate it every other day so the parents can't tell it's coming, like the militants in Patriot games knowing the satellite was coming over. So you do a couple of surprise wellness visits, and you check on the kids with some regularity and make sure their homeschooling is up to snuff.
More than a dozen.
So that they don't die. And then around about November, December, you start talking about coming back right after winter break.
In European countries, as well as South Korea, Taiwan, and many others, have already reopened schools, and cases have not risen. We can achieve the same goal if we unite together, follow the best medical practices, and apply common sense. We'll continue to support states and cities in the current hotspots in the South, Southwest, and West.
South, Southwest, and West. He doesn't mean Portland and Washington State. Does he mean Northern California? Is that why he's including it? Or does he consider Nevada to be west but not southwest? Or he considers Arizona to be west but not southwest?
The governors, I know them all. They're all very, very capable. They're doing a very good job. They're working so hard. You wouldn't even believe it.
I would believe it. I would believe they're working very hard, and in spite of everything, because you won't wear a mask consistently and you were telling people it wasn't necessary, they're back and forth between suing their mayors who want to put mask ordinances in place and trying to get their own in place, and the mayors are suing them because leadership.
We have nearly 30,000 federal personnel deployed in the states that need assistance. We're helping with doctors and nurses, medical personnel of all kinds. As a PPE update, we're in close communication with governors and states. We have supplies, everything they could possibly need. We're very strong on supplies. Remember, I used to say the cupboards were bare. Well, now
they weren't.
Cupboards are the opposite.
Oh, they're the opposites of bare. They've got a bathrobe on. The cupboards weren't bare, by the way. But for the sake of argument, if he's saying the cupboards were bare, why the shit did you leave them bare for 3.5 years?
Due to our historic efforts to increase both the national stockpile and the state stockpiles, the vast majority of the states have 60 days worth of supplies on hand. And most importantly, they have ventilators, because the ventilators are very, very hard to come by, at least.
Oh, good.
In the past. Now we're making thousands of ventilators.
You're the king of ventilators.
A month. And
right. How about ECMO machines?
Supplying them in many cases to other countries. For states that are making requests, we're rapidly delivering. In the last 24 hours, FEMA has deployed more than 1.5 million masks upon request, 1.7 million gowns, and 600,000. Well, let me change that. We've created about 600,000 different supplies. We have 600 ventilators to Arizona, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Colorado, Idaho, and Washington. I think the number is 600. We'll go check that, and we'll give it to you in a little while. But
per state, no matter what? Is that what we're doing?
We've got a stockpile of thousands of ventilators. I think we've sent out about 600 just recently. The United States has now conducted more than 51 million tests, which is more than any other country in the world by far.
Yeah, you're still counting a bunch of countries either that don't report properly or like India, who are woefully behind where they should be. Or you're counting a bunch of countries that have 1/6 our population.
Roughly half of the tests are either the rapid point of care tests, which frankly solves a lot of problem and delay, 5 to 15 minutes instead of waiting for service both ways in both directions and then at the lab. But roughly half of them now, which is a tremendous increase, are 5 to 15-minute tests or tests done in a hospital where you get the results back in less than a day. Some cases immediately. We're
what are these all? Then why are all these Republicans whinging? By the way,
continuing to surge testing to current hotspots such as Miami and Phoenix to detect those with the virus and take steps to stop from spreading it further. There's a copy of the map, and this is, you have it right behind me. That's.
He finally noticed the maps were up. That's a good sign, I suppose, when he held up his little piece of paper.
Really very much indicating where the problems are. You see from...
Yeah, okay. So look at, again, maybe this comes from dating a graphic designer for 8 years, but what the shit is red and pink being the worst areas, so it looks like blood, for one. I mean, it's bad enough when they make it green or blue, so it looks like it's a good thing, but let's just use like standard, you know, grayscale. But using the white and the yellow and doing a per 100,000, the reason this looks better, and I don't know what the standard on this is because you're not seeing the key is completely indecipherable, so I'm calling bullshit on it anyways. But let's just say parts of this are legit, like these are new cases per 100,000, I'm gonna guess. So you're not counting New York and places that have got it under control. They're in the yellow category. They've got between, you know, 10 and 100, something like that. That's the yellow-ish areas. But the yellow and white, when you over-contrast the screen that's up there, except when, like, if you look at his head, see if you over-contrast the yellow and the white and the weird pink rivulet that looks like an axe strike, and the fender hair thing from, I guess is that a Buick? Anyways, when you use yellow and white, you can it looks like they're basically any place with a growth of 100 people every single time, whatever their time scale is. It makes it look like there's a much larger none, when in reality, it's there's a ton of yellow in there, which means growth. The cases are growing continually. And then you've got all these pinks and reds and all that nonsense. So let's see, there you go. And we'll get rid of that. And then we'll hi. And then we go to this guy and we go bam, bam, bam. And then we go to this guy and we go bam from stream. And then we go delete. And then you're done. See, that's easy. Yeah. And by the way, it's a lie. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like the whole, Fauci's not there. Birx is on the side just so he can say she was there. But he's not going to let her talk.
From that, it's in great shape.
I might be wrong, but I don't think so. I mean, he might bring her up, but he might bring up the greatest relief pitcher of all time, too.
Lots of it. The Northeast has become very clean. The country is in very good shape, other than if you look south and west, some problems.
Yeah, it's in great shape, except for all these areas where tons of people are getting sick and dying. You know, the place where I was just about to have my rally? Everything's fine except for these highly populated areas.
It'll all work out. On therapies, we've worked with Florida to ensure that over 40,000 vials of remdesivir are arriving this week. It's a lot.
No, it's not.
That's a lot. They're working.
No, it isn't. It's the last of it. It takes a long time to make that shit. Do we have enough dexamethasone, and do we have any beta interferon?
Around the clock to make it. It's had a tremendous impact. We've also shipped thousands of vials to Arizona.
Who's dying? 1,000 people a day?
California and Texas over the past 2 weeks. Arizona's doing very well. It's heading down.
By the way, thanks for the new follows, too. There's been a couple people in here. Brack Flag, are you a fan of Brack from Space Ghost? Is that what that's from? If that is, that's wonderful. If not, and you're a troll, then bye. But if you are, that's kind of awesome. And Raphael said, we don't want to infect teachers and school employees, you melting orange something or other. I can't see the tail end of that, but I agree. And thank you, Domestic.
They're heading down, I think, very quickly. Governor's done a great job. They've all done a great job.
Have they all done a great job? Have they? Has Kemp done a great job?
All done a great job. Working.
Really? Look at the map. Those were areas that did not have a problem.
Hard. We'll continue to monitor the areas rising and with respect to cases, and we ask all Americans to exercise vigilance, practice social distancing, wear a mask, do whatever is necessary so we get rid of this horrible situation, this horrible...
I almost said scourge again. Damn it.
...disease that was sent to us by China. It should not have been sent. They should have stopped it. They could have stopped it. They didn't.
They could have stopped it, and they didn't, so it was on purpose. So you were making a trade deal, and you're still interested in continuing a trade deal with a country that you apparently believe attacked us with the most successful bioweapon attack in human history.
And the entire world has gotten infected, and a lot of countries are going through a lot right now. This morning I spoke with President Putin of Russia.
Really? What a surprise. How was that different from every other morning?
And they're going through...
Whether he needs a good laugh or something?
Very hard time with this, in Moscow in particular.
Yeah, I hear Russia's got some really weird symptoms. Apparently, we've lost a lot of frontline healthcare workers to the disease. Apparently, when they die in Russia, they catch it and then they fall out a window.
I spoke to the Crown Prince, Saudi Arabia.
Really? The two big oil assholes who were fighting and drove the oil markets into the shitter. Notice how you're chatting with those guys. Were they on the phone at the same time? Do they both share the same compromat?
They're doing well, but they're going through a lot. Everybody's going through a lot. Yesterday, I spoke to the heads of 4 different countries.
Which ones would those be?
All 4 are going through a lot.
Oh, yeah. Cool. I mean, it's tough running a country.
A hard time. This could have been...
Did you bring up the bounties by any chance when you spoke to Vladimir Putin? And did you ask the Crown Prince if we could have our soldiers back who are acting as security guards on their oil and gas processing plants?
It could have been stopped quickly and easily.
If it could have been stopped quickly and easily, why didn't you stop it leaving Washington State?
But for some reason it wasn't. And we'll figure out what that reason was.
Okay, so it's one of two reasons. If it could have been stopped quickly and easily, then they chose not to release it, not to stop it, and just released it into the world. And so Xi Jinping is on par to be one of the greatest mass murderers of all time. Because we're approaching like Nazi concentration camp numbers.
So with that, if you have any questions, please.
Yeah, I have a few, but I'll defer to the press corps because they have to sit there smelling your breath. Oy, God, it's a solid neck giant today, kids. Right.
On the convention, were you simply not convinced that you could keep people safe at the convention?
I just felt it was wrong, Steve, to have people going to what turned out to be a hot spot. You know, when we chose it, it was not at all hot. It was free.
No, that's not true. That's not true. They were going to have it in North Carolina, right? And then North Carolina said, piss off, we've got too many COVID cases, we're not going to have any big gatherings. And they're like, oh, well, we'll move it to Florida. Florida had already started to spike at that part.
All of a sudden, it happened quickly. It happens quickly, and it goes away, and it goes away quickly. The key is we wanted to go away without a lot of death, without a lot of problems, and we're learning so much about the disease. That's why we're very cognizant of nursing homes. We're watching them very carefully, and people over a certain age, and especially people over a certain age with diabetes or heart disease in particular, but with a problem. So
with a problem. Can you list the problems? Because that's the problem.
We didn't want to take any chances. So we had a lot of people. We have the delegates want to be there. We're going to do a fairly reasonably quick meeting in North Carolina. The nomination will be produced. And then we'll announce what we're doing, how we're doing it, whether it's something that's done online, I guess you could call it, online.
Whoops.
So
they lost, after losing one of the prompters on the side, or the maps on the side, they also lost camera feed.
They could be
always high quality coming from the whitehouse.gov site.
Nothing like our last convention, unfortunately. That was a great...
Oh, God. Glory days. Young girls, glory days.
Convention, and in a great place, as you know.
It was terrific. Remember when Mike Flynn was saying lock her up, and then you had to pardon him?
We had a great time. Great time in Cleveland. But
that's a quality feed you got going on there, White House.
It's a different world, and it will be for a little while. We want to get the...
I love a different world. I mean, it's no different strokes, but it was a solid show.
Go back to what it was, and I think...
Oh, my God. They are blinking the camera on and off and giving us QAnons a Morse code. Everybody take it down. So far, I've counted dash, dot, dash, dot, dash.
We'll have that included.
Dash, dash, dot. And then he made a weird butt pucker face like this. So write that down. Put that in your QAnon notebooks, okay?
Great job numbers, including so many things that are happening so positive. I have to say the stock market is close to records. For NASDAQ, it is a record.
NASDAQ. It's a Q at the end. And so when people speak it, they use proper English to understand that the Q turns into a K sound at the NASDAQ. Not NASDAQ. Honest to God, I think you see the Q and you read it as a capital G and you don't know.
It's already exceeded its highest numbers.
The stream is definitely haunted.
But we want to get our country back to what it was.
His hair is real, but it's real ugly. It's real thin.
So would your acceptance speech be from the White House, and are you worried?
We haven't set that yet, Steve. We'll have that. We'll probably announce that over the next few days.
Might dampen enthusiasm.
Look, we've done a great job. We built the greatest economy in the world. Nobody close. Not China, not anybody. We had to close it. We saved millions of lives, and we opened it. But we had the best numbers in history for...
Some other room. What was that? Oh, my God. They flashed us something, y'all. There was a code. It was John standing in a standing in a room by himself. What the shit was that? Hold on. What? Back up. What was that? Frame by frame. Come on. What was that? Do you guys see that? Look at that. What is this? What is cameras? What are we watching here? What's going on? What was that? Pause.
Anything you want to name, we had the best numbers.
Pause. Wait 1 second. No. We're going to see. Jesus wanted us to see that. What in the world?
Anything you want to name, we had the best numbers. Women doing incredibly.
Oh my God, y'all, it was code. We all got to watch out for that, okay? It was subliminal. That's the stage they're setting up. They were going to show it, and they decided against it. Come back here.
Americans, Asian Americans, every group.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, how many? Write this down, guys. Okay, there's a guy clearly with COVID wiping his snot on the president's teleprompter. This is a murder attempt. And then there's this fellow over here who looks like I'm just saying, he looks a little BGT to me. And there's 1, 2, 3. Somebody count the stars. I can't do it. And then that girl, she's wearing, it's okay. She's fine. She's got her shoulders showing and she's wearing a short skirt. She's on the team. She's definitely one of Trump. She's got the okay. You can tell by how his assistant is ogling her. And that guy must be the photo stand-in for Jim Jordan. He's not wearing a jacket. And wait a minute, that's a teleprompter. That's a floor bounce teleprompter on both sides of that. I don't know what I'm watching. Oh my God, is there no one in there? What is this place? This is where he's going to announce John John's landing. They just slipped this in there, man. Come on. Somebody count the chairs. What's that box? Somebody look up the UPC symbol on that FedEx package. I bet you anything it's got the address of that judge. And there's a manila envelope here. That's evidence, y'all. Y'all, come on. That's evidence. Why has no one showed up yet? Oh my God. Please tell me the convention's not going to be a bust like Tulsa. Okay. All right. Excuse me while I commit this to memory. I got to do it. Hold on. Don't let me fade. I got to hold on to this. All right. Okay, now it's committed to memory. Okay, here we go.
I want to name young people without a diploma, young people with a high school
dash
diploma, with a college diploma, anything you want to name. We had the best number.
Yeah, what's in the box? Come on, what's in the box? What's in the box?
Women doing incredibly. Never been a time like that.
Why did the screen go black when he said women are doing great? Never been a time like that.
And we had to turn it off.
Excuse me, we did not have to because
once it was reluctantly aroused. It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused.
Yeah.
Because of what China did. We had to turn it off, and then all of a sudden,
great feed,
now we turn
White
it back
House.
on, and we're doing very well. But it was very bad. China, speaking about China, the trade deal means...
The ink wasn't even dry. Oh, and no audio now.
Record corn day. They purchased more corn than any order ever.
A record corn day. Guys, it was a record corn day. I looked in the bowl. I stood up after I was sitting on the bowl. I was tweeting. I got up. I looked in the bowl before I flushed. Always. And it was a record corn day. God damn.
And that went on for 2 or 3 days, and
a record corn day.
Soybeans and all, but it just means much less to me. Can you understand that?
No, I don't understand what the shit that just was. A record corn day. They bought more corn than ever, and it means less to you. Can you understand that? You mean why? Because according to you, they poisoned us all?
Very bad. China, speaking about China, the trade deal means...
They cut that out. The White House edited out whatever the shit he said right there. Or either that or China has the feed, maybe. I'm not doing this.
Record corn day. They purchased more corn than any order ever. And that went on for 2 or 3 days, and soybeans and all. But it just means much less to me. Can you understand that? It just means much less to me, please.
It was so exciting before. Now I'm so upset. We had a record corn day, and I couldn't even enjoy it.
Go ahead.
What was the one thing, if there was one thing that changed your mind about the convention? And
Wait,
did Florida officials ask?
I guess the question is, though, how are carrots selling? I think is the...
Shut up and never...
We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Carrot.
You to cancel it?
No, they didn't. We're dealing with them, but they didn't. I would just say safety. Just safety. I just, I could see the media saying...
They talked him into it. The same way it took him 2 weeks to talk him into the original 15 days to slow the spread.
Oh, this is very unsafe. I don't want to be in that position. It's safety, not because of the media, but that's what they would say. And
because they would call you out because it is unsafe. They don't just say that shit just to mess with you. Thank you, LEC.
We'll have a very nice something. We'll figure it out. It'll be online in some form. Maybe it'll be something even a little bit different. We have time. We're talking about the end of August.
Of life as we know it.
But I think it'll be something that will be exciting. But there can be nothing like...
No. We watched the Telerallies. I'm going to go with no.
Having 25,000 people. We had a tremendous thing planned in tremendous convention planned in North Carolina, and it would have been very good, but a much smaller version in Florida. But then we saw what was happening pretty quickly. We saw that the virus was coming up that coast. So
it was coming up the coast. It was like a hurricane. So why don't you just whip out your Sharpie and make it go out to sea?
The severity of the situation in Florida?
No.
Oh, the Telerallies, he just does these phone-in bullshit 23-minute things where he says the exact same thing to every state, tries to push whoever's getting elected, and I guess if you're a donor to the campaign, you can listen to the phone call. Like you couldn't just listen to him call into Hannity and say the exact same shit for free.
I think it's going to come and go. It will. I mean, you take a look at some of these locations. We're heavily infected. I mean,
Oh, they look at that. They all see all the cameras go when he finally pointed at it.
Point where Deborah and I were talking that,
That's a good face.
When
these are all the ones that are going to be like. These are all the photos you're going to see
in New York and what happened in New Jersey and other places, and now you're looking and it's gone. Hope it stays gone. I think it's
not gone. The growth has moved to a yellow.
I think it will, but we have to be vigilant. We have to be careful, and we also have to set an example. I think setting an example. That's super important now. We got to set an example, people. That's why I'm always wearing a mask when I go out in public or when I go around places. I got to set an example because Biden started wearing a mask while he was meeting with actual people out and about and didn't hide and shut the lights out in the White House like a wuss. And now I've got to set an example to show that I can be Biden. Example is very important. It's hard for us to say we're going to have a lot of people packed in a room and then other people shouldn't do it. Don't forget we're talking about schools. And
yeah, it's okay if we pack kids in schools where they can catch it and where the teachers can catch it and spread it around the neighborhood. But
we want them to be vigilant, and we're saying open, and then we're saying here you have a big room. But I also, if you notice, I said where bars are crowded, where other things are crowded. Well, there's nothing more crowded than a convention. I mean, you've seen them. And even though you try and keep people away from each other, it's just not that kind of a thing. They probably...
Yeah, kind of like an elementary school.
They can't do that. It just doesn't work for them. So it's a very hard... So I think we're setting...
Yeah, they're packed in there like canned corn.
Example by doing it is very important. Yeah, John.
Mr. President, if I could come back to school openings. You talked about money that Congress is looking at to help schools who want to reopen. If a school wants to reopen but is concerned about testing, would you consider directing some of that money toward testing for either a school district or even individual schools if that's what it took to open the school.
Yeah, that's what it takes.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a lot of people feel differently about testing. We talk about it a lot. When we have 50 million tests plus.
Oh my God. This is not the time to say that we have more cases because we have more tests. He just asked you if there's a way that you can provide testing to schools to make it safe for them to be open. Nobody gives a shit about what you think your ratings are based on the numbers of cases in the country. Get a handle on it, you whiny bastard.
And, you know, we broke the 50 million test mark.
Yeah, we also broke the 144,000 dead. We have more dead than the last 5 wars.
In the world is India, which has 1.4 billion people.
Yeah, and there's no way they're keeping track.
And they had 12 million tests.
No, yeah, and it's pitiful. That's not a comparison point.
And other countries that are very big had 2 million tests. And some countries essentially only test if you're sick and walk into a hospital or walk into a doctor's office or you're literally really sick.
Yeah, that was the standard you guys had for months.
Essentially don't do tests unless you're sick. And I understand that too. So, yeah, if they
You understand that too. You want that to be the case.
feel that that's what they want, that would be fine.
You would tell Congress, you would encourage Congress to pay for testing for schools?
I would if they want. Again, we've done 50 million tests. There's nobody even close in the whole world. You look at our mortality
That's because other people track and trace.
rate, you look at our death rate, you look at
We're 7th in the world in mortality.
different statistics. We're doing very well. But one death is too many. This should never have happened. This should never have been allowed to happen from China.
Also, Mitch McConnell's office just put out a statement.
If we stop looking for illegals, I've basically solved the immigration problem. I mean, honestly, if you stop charging people for being in the country illegally, then no one's in the country illegally. It's the law that's the problem.
A moment ago about the Phase 4 relief package, CARES 2, saying, quote, it's tailored precisely for this phase of the crisis. Yet it does not include your payroll tax cut. So do you believe it's perfectly
Yeah, I'd like to
tailored?
see a payroll tax cut. I think it's great for the workers.
It's not. It's dumb. It's pro-business and it's anti-Social Security. That's why he wants it.
Democrats would never have gone for it. They don't
No. Yeah. And tons of Republicans wouldn't either.
want it.
Mitch McConnell's a prick and he laughed at the idea.
They're not big into the workers, I guess. And
They're not big into the workers. Yeah. Uh-huh. You can't accuse them of being socialists and then go, they don't care about workers' rights.
based on that, I told them last night, I told the Republicans who have been working very hard on this, I'll tell you, and they want what's right for the country. And hopefully the Democrats ultimately will. But I said, I think a payroll tax would be good, but you're not going to get it from the Democrats. We need their
No, you're not.
votes, as you know.
You're not going to get it from the majority of Republicans either.
It's not like, we have a majority, but it's not enough that's why I guess we have an election coming up. So you still
Yeah. And ask them how good it looks.
Democrat votes, and we're not going to get the Democrat votes on that. So I'd like to see it. I think
Yeah, this is to undermine Social Security. Nobody's for it. The Republicans know it'll get hung around their neck. They're not going to say
it'd
it.
be very good for the workers. But
Dumb.
if we're not going to get their votes, I guess we have to go on to the next thing. A payroll tax cut would have been very good, and maybe something happens.
You can't borrow from the Social Security Trust Fund for all the other programs, including your giant military budget, put us in huge debt, which is paying out of the social. You're borrowing that money from Social Security and then knock out the payroll payment into it in the first place. You're not replenishing the funds you're taking out, even.
Yes, please.
Moronic.
You talk about setting an example on
Yes, of the prime of health.
But I just wonder, some people are going to take away from this the lesson that you're pushing too far, too fast. It seemed for a while the numbers were going up in Jacksonville and you were going to have a problem there. This comes up at a time you're pushing for schools to reopen. We have the opening of the Major League Baseball season. Isn't the example of Jacksonville that we're pushing too fast?
Well, baseball, as an example, we were discussing it a little while ago. You're going to be
I've got a baseball player right here.
Empty stadium. I've agreed. Randy Levine's a great friend of mine from the Yankees. He asked me to throw out the first pitch, and I think I'm doing that on August 15th at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, we'll do that live. Oh, we'll be covering that one. Oh, know that.
Hey, how's the crowd going to be? And,
there isn't going to be one, dummy.
It's like you don't have a crowd. There is no such thing. It's going to be interesting, Mariano. He's not used to that. I've been at many games.
What are you talking about? They play practice games all the time. They'll just do that only it matters for the season.
In the place goes
They won't have a bunch of people just yelling shit at you when you're trying to pitch.
crazy. I think it'd be just as good without the crowd. You were just born with it. Some people are born with it.
No, they're not. No. You know what talent is? Falling in love with something before everybody else does. That's it. Nobody's born with a talent. This isn't genetic. This is his bullshit. I've got more midichlorians than other people.
I don't know if this is only for the baseball players, but I've never seen a pitcher throw a ball where so many bats were broken as Mariano. He's got the all-time record. I said, how do you do that? He said, parents, great parents.
Oh, so he wasn't born with it. His parents taught him to practice and work and try harder and continue to improve. That kind of shit that you've eschewed your entire adult life.
When you get right down to it, right? How do you do?
Oh, yeah. Get the thumbs up. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. Thanks for reminding me, Can't Stop Lying. You guys are in here. Give us a thumbs up. If you're at Facebook and you're an actual human being and you're not a QAnon bot, think about coming over to the YouTube page eventually, infotainmentwars.com, or go to Twitch. That's a little growing crowd over there, and it's a lot of fun because you can, here, I'll show you. In the chat room, you can do all kinds of fun stuff like these kind of things. They're adorable.
It's called parents, but
it's called parents. Some people call it parents. I call it a parent or parents, parentsy, parents.
But I just to finish, I think that we have to all set examples. I think Major League Baseball is setting an example by, playing to empty stadiums, and so are other sports. You see that now. Then they'll allow a certain number in. I see golf is now soon will be allowing people to come in percentages.
Oh yeah, golf, known for its giant crowds.
And all of a sudden,
finally, we've solved the golf and baseball issue about
get back to normal. The key is to get back to normal.
No. The key is to survive this pandemic, then get back to normal.
Nobody wants to see this, but I think
that's true. Well, I mean, they want to see this. This is fun, but nobody wants to see this. Well, I mean, there's some people that obviously want to see this. They'd rather see it from the other end with their mouth open.
It's really good that basically,
like the QAnon and the Trumpsters and the maggots, I feel bad for you guys because you're just you're like the second person in line at Human Centipede, and you chose him to be in front.
Football's opening. It looks like football's opening. It looks like sports are opening.
Murph, it's okay. I know. You can't come in yet.
We have.
Murph always wants to come in right about this time. You notice that? He's getting a habit now.
It's a tremendous thing psychologically for our country. And
yeah, I'm not worried about the psychological part more than I'm worried about the physical part. Because we can get over feeling emotionally bad. It's a little hard when your lungs turn to ground glass.
We're all with it. We're going to see right now.
Why is this closing in on him? What does the White House know that we don't?
Beautiful young little leaguers outside with.
Maybe don't use those phrases when you just wished Ghislaine Maxwell well.
The great future ahead of them. They're already practicing on the front lawn of the White House. And we're going to go out and say hello to them, and it'll be really great. Okay, how about one more? Yeah, please, go ahead.
President Trump, the Washington Post earlier today reported that one thing holding up the GOP coronavirus bill is the White House asking that it include language regarding the FBI building in downtown Washington, D.C. Is that true?
I don't know that they're putting it in this bill, but I know they want to have a new FBI building. This one is very old, and it's really was never built to a very high standard, as you probably have heard, and it's got a lot of danger involved and panels falling off the outside and pieces of
There's a building with panels falling and it's danger. Wait, this is going to make or break the next relief package?
Concrete falling off the building. And they want to build it at the site that they have it. They had options very far away from Washington. And I said to them, frankly, you have to be near the Justice Department. There's nothing better than the site. The site they have now is better. But they were looking at sites in Maryland and Virginia and different places. But they would have been too far away.
You mean like the Pentagon?
So I have been encouraging them to build it. And if you have a choice. You can renovate the existing building, but it's not a good building. Or you could take it down and build a great building for the FBI for 100 years and have it be incredible, even with track.
He wants them to name it after him or Barr.
On top.
Mainly him.
Talking about, we have, because FBI people like to work out a lot, and you could have literally quarter-mile tracks on top.
You might not want to make these kind of gestures.
It's a very big site, very wide site. So I think the best idea would be to build a new building, and that way you have it for a long time. Renovation can never be as good as a new building in that case.
That's not true.
I know they're talking about it, whether or not they put it in this bill or someplace else, but the FBI needs a new building, and we'll get it done. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
What about Ghislaine Maxwell and Russian bounties? Okay, nothing. All right. We've, good God. That was it. Aren't you all glad to know that that they moved the RNC because of safety concerns after moving the RNC after told they couldn't have it someplace? Jesus Christ. Dull beyond dull. But you asked for it. Here it is.
Mr. President, great.
Mark Siegel of Fox News interviews Donald John Trump. Mark Siegel is their medical correspondent. He's the Dr. Fauci of Fox News. And you're going, that's ridiculous. And I'm agreeing with you.
News today on vaccines again.
Yes.
Pfizer
so good.
BioNTech vaccine, 100 million doses being purchased by the federal government for $2 billion.
Whether it works or not.
It seems like therapeutic.
We just poured $2 billion into Pfizer, so glad I have stock in it, is what he's saying.
Vaccines are really proceeding at a major speed.
They are more.
Yeah, especially the ones at Oxford. Hold on, I'm going to turn this up a touch because it's a little quieter.
They're going very well. I watch you all the time, and I watch you're almost like my guide to this because, frankly, you really have a good take on it. You know how important it is.
Oh, great. So when he makes stupid decisions, we know who to blame now. Thank you, Frankie. The Murph Hugs Fund. Oh, great. Well, I will make sure that Murph comes in at the tail end. Am I crackling again? We charged the other one, so hopefully it's okay. I might have. My mic's a little hot on this one. It's a little warmer. I will bring it down. I can get it carried away, and then
The vaccines are doing well, and therapeutics. I mean, you tell me, but I almost would prefer the therapeutics even first. You go into the hospital.
You will have therapeutics first, dummy.
Make people better.
That's how. Yeah, because that's the goal. That's kind of the goal. Otherwise, it's not actually a therapeutic. Thanks very much. I feel like a hot mic.
But we're doing very well with
or hot mic, I suppose. I don't know. I'm Scotch-Irish. There's a big chunk of me.
Remdesivir and other things. The steroids are turning out to be great. Plasma.
No. Thank you, Going Gonzo. Not steroids. No. A steroid, dexamethasone, is a steroid. It's helpful. We're not giving steroids to COVID-19 patients. We're not.
It's turning out to
ask Schwarzenegger. They give you liver damage.
Be really good.
And have heart attacks, and that's comorbidity with COVID-19. It would be kind of counterintuitive. Yeah, and he said plasma, but he said it quickly, so it almost got a plasma out of it. We'll see.
We've made tremendous progress, and I think that's why you see the death numbers is a horror.
The death numbers. Always working on his communication skills. The death numbers.
Thing to say, but that's why you see the death numbers really looking much better.
The death numbers are looking much better. Again, this goes to his inability to say anything that's not an exaggeration. So everything has to be an up, even if it's a down. Oh, God. It's like a tick.
On vaccines, I'm concerned about vaccine compliance in this country. 30% of people have said they wouldn't even take this vaccine.
Yeah, which 30%? Which 30% aren't going to take it? All of them are maggots and Trumpsters and QAnon supporters. Do you think any of them are going to line up behind a military truck and get a shot? Are you high? Yeah, the 30% are all voting for you. Every last one of them.
Commander-in-Chief and leader of the free world, would you consider being one of the first to take this vaccine to send a message to the American public?
Well, you know the way it works. If I'm the first one, they'll say he's so selfish, he wanted to get the vaccine first.
It's a shot. No, he won't. Obama went on camera and got the shot for H1N1 almost immediately.
And then other people would say, hey, that's a very brave thing to do. I would absolutely, if they wanted me to, if they thought it was right, I'd take it first or I'd take it last.
Look at that.
You do know that if I...
No, you're amazing. Do you do intermittent fasting as well? I do not keto, but I do intermittent fasting. I'm curious.
Take it first, I'll be... Either way, I lose on that one, right? If I...
No. No, not either way you'll lose on that one. Take it early, videotape it, film it, do it at the White House, have Sean Hannity administer the shot so that all your dumbass followers, the 30% who say they won't take it, might actually take it. Unless, of course, they know that it's actually just an inoculation against the deep state's attempt to poison you or some nonsense. Good God.
Take it first, and if I don't take it, they'll say he doesn't believe in the program. But what...
As if these are the options. Not everything is a PR stunt, you dickhead.
Whatever I think is best, whatever we all agree is best, I would certainly do that.
I'll make you...
Who's we all? You in the deep state? I'm going to call Ghislaine Maxwell, ask her advice.
I'll take it, and then you...
We'll take it together,
That's
okay?
right.
Good.
Talk to me about lockdowns. I'm, as you know, very disturbed about you probably more than me, disturbed about the economic, mental, physical, medical costs of lockdowns. And Democratic governors are again talking about lockdowns. What's your view?
You know, you can almost see it on television. I've watched some of
You can almost see it on television.
these guys. I watched, well, I won't say it because it's not somebody I have a lot of liking or respect for, but a certain comedian that's been locked in his house for a long period of time.
I feel seen. I finally feel seen.
He's like withered away. He's lost the whole deal.
Wait a second. I think, excuse me. I'm holding it together. I haven't lost any mass. I mean, I'm certainly not eating at the volume I was before, but, you know, I haven't got my full wings, but I can't deadlift because the gym that I go to that does the what am I supposed to do? Okay? There's an epidemic. I have to set a good standard. I have to, you know, otherwise people will do what I do. And then I mean, honestly, this is, obviously I've got some work to do, but I feel like my triceps are looking solid and I've been doing more shoulder work and I've been doing more diamond push-ups and that. Why are you saying this? This is so rude. Quite frankly, I'm just flattered you watch, Mr. President.
He's lost the wit. He's lost...
Oh, he's talking about Dennis Miller. I'm sorry. I was mistaken. I thought he was talking about me. Oh, I was mistaken. See, I thought... Yeah, no, he had me. I thought he was... No, honestly, for a minute there, I thought he was discussing me. And it turns out... Yeah, he was talking about Dennis Miller. I think that's still...
so much. I almost would like to use him as an example, but you can use more than just him. It's her.
No, you just need, that's okay. That's all you need. Just, yeah. You don't need anybody else. Just use Dennis Miller. Bring him, have him interview you at the White House as he withers away.
Hurting people. These lockdowns are hurting people.
That's because you lied about the length of them and you set an unrealistic standard for when we would come back so people are not set up to actually be able to handle it psychologically if they find you, an authority. I mean, obviously the rest of us think you're a buffoon, and so we're kind of in opposite land. Whatever you say, we're like, oh shit. He says we're opening up right away. Everybody, 9 months minimum. Like, get yourself in the mental headspace that we're going to have to hold on to this for a while. This mic's worse.
The right thing,
no.
Mark. I don't know if you...
It is? Check it. Maybe it's the thing. Hold on. I'm going to check something. Carrot Top's in great shape, isn't he? He's buff as shit. Although I think he's dropped a little bit of mass, but check 1, check 2. Yeah, so it's a little bit hot. So I'll bring it down a touch there. Maybe that'll keep the choppiness around. Hopefully that'll help.
But I think you do.
Is this better at all?
We closed it.
Let me know. It's crackling. Damn it. All right, I'll try this one again. Hold on. Usually that's the mic that's weird. Unless, of course, I'm being shot with a Chinese ray right now, which is entirely possible.
We understood the disease. We didn't know anything about this. This came in. This was new.
Right. So what's this bullshit about the Obama-Biden stop testing?
Understood the disease. We banned China from coming in, which was a big move.
You didn't ban China. Oh, by the way, may I? Hi. Let's see. Where is it? Here it is. Trump's early coronavirus ban on travelers from China was full of holes. Oh yeah, news. That's right. Yeah. President Trump has repeatedly credited his February ban on travelers from mainland China as his signature move against the advance of the coronavirus pandemic, a strong wall that allowed only U.S. citizens inside, he boasted in May. But Trump's wall was more like a sieve. Ouch. Cold-blooded LA Times. By the way, lovely necklace choices. This is not based on my Google search results. I am not looking for a family circle. I don't know, there's something kind of lab rats about those. I might rethink that. Anyways, exempted were thousands of residents of the Chinese territories of Hong Kong and Macau. An analysis of who had, by the way, many of them had just gone back from mainland China after the Chinese New Year with the disease. An analysis of Commerce Department travel entry records and private aviation data obtained by the Associated Press show that nearly 8,000 Chinese nationals and foreign residents of the territories entered the U.S. on more than 600 commercial and private flights in the first 3 months of the ban after the ban was imposed. By the way, a lot of those folks flying in on private flights are big agribusiness buyers. They buy a lot of American livestock because China had to cull 700 million pigs last year because of a disease. It's still kind of an ongoing problem, but they lost a lot of livestock, so they had to buy a bunch of pigs from the United States. So these guys flew in to buy stuff from our big agribusiness that, you know, have cows and pigs and whatnot. And curiously enough, where did we have outbreaks ongoing? Curious about that. When U.S. residents flying from mainland China arrived at U.S. airports, the system meant to flag and monitor them for development of symptoms lost track of at least 1,600 people in just the first few days of the ban, after the ban went in effect. According to an internal state government email obtained by the AP, which is right here, by the way. This is it, from Lindsay Pierce. These are the notes. Please send any corrections. Thanks and have a great day, Lindsay. Says at the top. Yeah, these are all about the thing. And remember, this is February 7th. Okay, so this is a couple days after the ban went into place. 12 cases in the U.S., 300 people under investigation. 300 possible cases with the 12 that we already knew about. Of course, it went to 15 cases, and then it went to 0, and I don't even know why we're talking about it anymore. But Trump continues to praise his administration's ban. We did a great job on coronavirus, including the very early ban on China. We saved millions of U.S. lives. Trump on January 31st announced the original travel ban on any non-U.S. residents who had recently been in mainland China. Now, it wasn't citizens. It was just non-U.S. residents. So if you had a non-resident visa and it was already in place, you could go, but yeah. His move came weeks after Chinese officials acknowledged a new highly contagious and deadly virus that was spreading through the city of Wuhan in the Hebei province. Travelers from Hong Kong and Macau were exempted from that ban. They did not face the same enhanced screening and quarantine procedures required of Americans. And others returning from Wuhan. And by the way, remember, a bunch of these folks were on private planes, just flying in to do business and go home again. And they came and went the entire time. So the Chinese ban that he's put in place, the China ban, which he brags about all the time, that's been in place this whole time. If you're from Macau or you fly through Macau or Hong Kong, as the diseases continue to spread, by the way, you can come and go all you want. Thank you, Gonzo. Awesome. See, flight records provided to the AP by FlightAware, an international aviation tracking company, showed that more than 5,600 Chinese and foreign nationals from the two administrative zones flew to the U.S. in February alone. Those totals dropped to 2,100 in March and just 150 in April because we had more cases than they did. So they stopped coming here for fear that they would catch it. There is no clear evidence that the small but steady flow of people from Hong Kong and Macau introduced COVID-19 cases inside the U.S. in January or in the 4 months since, but the exemptions certainly undercut the purpose of the ban. Dr. Ronald Waldman, a professor of global health at George Washington University. By the way, there's no tracking to show that it didn't either. We had nothing in place. That is an absurdity to assert that. There is no clear evidence that the small but steady flow of people from Hong Kong and Macau introduced COVID-19 cases. Yeah, there's no clear evidence. There's apparently some murky evidence, but we don't have any details because we didn't bother to look. None of the agencies involved in crafting and announcing the travel ban, the National Security Council, the State Department, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Department of Health and Human Services, would comment publicly to the AP about why Hong Kong and Macau are exempt, other than, Steve Wynn has property in Macau. In a brief statement, the State Department would not, quote, comment on internal policy decisions and deferred to the White House, which did not respond to repeated requests for an explanation. So, just run that through your head. Oh, thank you, Patty. I appreciate you. Thank you for doing that. I usually, if I missed you, I will go back through. Patty said, for poor Murphy who misses the baby kittens, he does not miss the baby kittens, Patty. He's so happy that they're gone. He couldn't be happier that they're out of here. Like, he's like, I have my house back. And remember this as Trump continues to BS his way through my travel ban, did all kinds of blah, blah, blah. Right. So, horseshit.
Dr. Fauci actually said that I saved tens of thousands of lives. And if you remember...
Yeah. And you erased those tens of thousands of lives that you saved allegedly, that he supposedly said, which I don't necessarily believe, by not closing down sooner. Those same number of people, like 20 to 40,000 people, their lives could have been saved if you had shut down the economy earlier and if you'd put on a total mask mandate nationwide, it would have been a game changer. 6 to 8 weeks, we'd have been back on good footing. Your base would have hated you, but they would have hated you till July 15th, and then they would have gone back to loving you. So who gives a crap?
I was the only one that wanted to do it. No,
you were the only one that only wanted to do that.
We had an office of 21 people. Everyone said no, but I said you got...
No, they didn't say no. They said, you can't just do that.
Do it.
That's not the only thing. They also went, why not Hong Kong and Macau? You can't just ban people from China. We need screening. We need a system in place. You can't just do... Where are you going? Why does he have golf clubs? What the shit is going on?
Because you could see the infection in China. Then we banned Europe from coming in, which...
I can't look this one up every single time.
Good with Italy and all the problems.
Yeah. After everybody was screaming about it for weeks.
But we did it right. We closed it up, and now we're opening. And we've learned, for instance, we've learned that the elderly, especially, obviously, you can say this better than anybody, the elderly who have diabetes or have heart problems have a problem.
Are 43% of the dead. Right. And they count for a number that is equal to the number of people who would die from flu, who will probably still die from flu. So we're looking at 160,000 dead from flu this year. Anyways. Great. Meanwhile, this asshole thinks that's a plus, that 57% of the people killed are people who wouldn't have died from any other of the normal coronaviruses we interact with.
They're really susceptible.
Yeah, that's why you more than anybody, because you're kind of an old bastard.
When people like to compare it to the flu, it's interesting because I see the flu numbers and they're very bad. But when I look at flu numbers and I never lost anybody to the flu.
Oh, this story again.
I had somebody, over my life, I've heard many people had the flu.
Is this guy about to fall backwards? It is the weirdest body language. Is it every time Trump exhales, he's like barely holding on? He looks like a guy who's facing a gale force wind.
The flu. How you doing? I have the flu. Nobody died. I never remember anybody saying, he had the flu, he died. I've lost 5 people. Probably 6.
You mean Stephen Miller's grandmother? Where you guys lied that she didn't die of COVID, even though her death certificate says she did?
As of this...
Yeah, I don't know if you know that. Stephen Miller's grandmother just died. She died of COVID.
moment.
Not that he cares, because I mean, I guess she's part of the culling. I mean, I can't say that. Perhaps he loved his grandmother. It doesn't seem so from the public reaction.
Pretty soon, but I've lost 5 friends that went in.
Business acquaintances.
One of them tested. Great guy, Stanley Shearer, one of the top real estate people in New York.
Who used to make fun of Trump in New York all the time as being a fake
A
billionaire.
very successful man, good man too. Never into politics until I ran. He became like a political wild man. He loved it. But a great guy with great spirit. He said, I tested positive. And I said, well, that's too bad, but you'll be okay. Oh, I'll be okay. He went to the hospital. 2 days later, he's in a coma. I say, how's Stanley doing? He's in a coma. And 2 days later, he died.
And the same day you were telling people like masks, I don't know. By the way, Trump has no friends. He has business acquaintances. The only people around him he considers friends are people who either owe their existence to him financially because ticks love the dog, I suppose, and people he sucks up to in the same industry that he considers himself equal to, and they do not.
And you know, that's happened on numerous occasions.
Trump considers the gangsters who he has to like deal with, like getting laundry and like other whatever textile stuff they own in New York City. Like they would literally like give the contract to mafia-owned companies because you had to stay in business. He considers them friends because he has to talk nice to them or horse heads or something.
It's probably happened to you with people too. I never remember anything like that. It didn't. I mean,
why is he? This is so weird. Look at this dude. He's nodding and standing. Look at this. This weird kind of like, he's just kind of standing like, What is that body language? Do you guys get it? Do you guys understand what the hell is going on?
No.
It's just the oddest. They're both the weirdest body language I've ever seen.
Never remember this happening with the flu.
It looks like he was running and just got stopped by Trump in a hallway.
So this is a very serious thing, but we've learned Stanley was an older guy. He perhaps could have lost a couple of pounds. Actually, I always thought of him as healthy, but other people that are healthy, the age is such a big factor. When you look in New Jersey, I happen to like it.
Yeah, both of you are in the age range where you could die. You are talking about people's expendability, and the very people you are talking about are your age. The two of these men, as they discuss, well, they could die, but whatever.
It's liberal, but I get along with him very well. You're governor of New Jersey, right?
Oh, he's doing the one dead kid under 18 story again. We just lost 4 kids under 9 years old.
Governor Murphy. He said they had, with 1,000...
Trump has Lego person body language.
Of deaths, they had 1 death under the age of 18.
That's not still true. That was weeks ago. Keep up.
And I believe that young person had diabetes. But 1 death.
Yeah. So it's okay if they die?
Out of thousands of people, 1 death.
Yeah. Tell me about the 18 to 65 crowd.
And that's an amazing statistic. So we wouldn't have known that.
No, it's not an amazing statistic.
At the
You're cherry picking to calm yourself.
beginning, in all fairness, you didn't know the elderly would be so badly hurt.
You mean you two?
We're really taking care of the elderly population right now.
And we're blowing off everyone else. Is that what it is now?
At a level that has never happened before.
Are we going to beat this virus?
We're going to.
Are we going to beat this virus? You mean the two of you? If you catch it? I don't know. I'm on the fence. Although there's been like a 102-year-old grandmother who basically smoked a pack a day and ate like jam on toast for the last 10 years. She beat it. So I don't necessarily think it's, it's linked to your diet and exercise regimen.
Yeah, we're going to beat it. And with time, you're going to beat it. Time. I say it's going to disappear. And they say,
yeah. But you just don't want it to disappear by killing all the people it can.
well, that's terrible. He said, well, it's true. I mean, it's going.
It is terrible. It won't go and you don't get any points if it just disappears. If you just wait it out and let it kill people, What the shit kind of strategy is that, you fucking maniac?
Disappear. Before it disappears, I think we can knock it out before it disappears. That's
all right. That would be the goal.
what I want. And if I had my choice of vaccines or therapeutics, give me therapeutics every time, because I'd love to walk into a hospital and give everybody something and they start walking out in 2 days. That's what I'd like. Vaccine is very good longer term, but give me therapeutics, and we're doing really good work therapeutically.
You mean the UK? Because dexamethasone and beta interferon, beta interferon. I don't know why I get stuck on that one. It's weird. Beta interferon and dexamethasone, which are the two cheapest and most efficacious, treatments that they've come up with. They cost like $5 per treatment, and it's like one only needs a single treatment, the other one needs like 4 treatments, and you're out. Versus remdesivir, which is incredibly expensive and very hard to produce, but makes a lot of money for the company.
Presidential health.
That was it. Let's see. Hold on. We'll pause 1 second. I've got family calling in. Give me 1 second. Be right back. Second. There we go. Hi. Oh, it's always dance time here. We'll always do it. Sorry. Okay, here we are.
Or health of a candidate is going to be on the table, of course, as it always is. And
Oh, this is the sweet part. We're getting to the sweet part.
Someone always asking for that. I've seen a lot about your health, being in good health. What do
You've seen a lot about his health being in good health? Really? Have you checked Ronnie Jackson's mental competency lately?
think should come out or be the attention regarding Vice President Biden?
Well,
yeah. Would you like to throw some shade at Biden's mental health? The man who's grown up with a stutter, has gaffed all of his life, but when it comes down to it, has never written the wrong thing on a piece of paper or argued that one of his gaffes is the reality. Because let's clear this up right now. When Biden misspeaks, he knows he's misspoken, and if you go, you said million, you meant thousand, he'll go, oh shit, okay. But when Trump misspeaks, he argues that the misspeak was actually what he meant to say the whole time. And honestly, it would take a lot of convincing for all of us. If you look at the cases they made before the Supreme Court, the executive orders he signed, that he didn't argue that point all the way to them writing it down.
I think we have to be in good health. I'll tell you what, this is a very...
Really? Based on what? Fish delight?
A very important job, to put it mildly. There's
Well, then maybe start doing it?
nothing like it. And I will also say, and I think I've had to work harder than others because I've been attacked from fronts that nobody ever...
Oh, you've been attacked by fronts that nobody's ever what? Nobody George Washington or what? Nobody Abraham Lincoln and what? You've been attacked on fronts that nobody else has been attacked on. With Eisenhower, Truman, what? What fronts have you been attacked on?
Attacked on, with fake investigations.
Like Iran-Contra and all those things when people go through that. Or Benghazi. Oh, imagine trying to run for president with the Benghazi bullshit. Maybe that was difficult. Whatever. Imagine running for office and then through your entire presidency, some asshole fake billionaire claiming that you weren't even born in the country and don't have the right to be president.
Russia.
You just called Vladimir Putin this morning for instructions.
Ukraine. I mean, nobody's gone through.
Marcia.
That I've done more than any president in the first 3 years in history. There's no.
we've done this before.
President that's done what we've done with rebuilding the military, the judges. We'll be up to almost 300 judges, including 2 great
You mean packing the courts, which is what you think Biden's going to do once he gets in office?
Supreme Court judges at the end of this term. So it's really something that's been great, but you need stamina, you need physical health, and you need mental health. And because you have so much fake news, every once in a while you'd say, first they'd say, he wants to take over the world, he's going to take over the world, he's a dictator. The next day they'll say, he's crazy. The next day they'll say, oh, he's...
Yeah, very seldom do we look at a dictator who wants to take over the world and say they're crazy. That is so totally two different. Like, I would never look at Hitler and go, he's crazy. But you know those fit together, right? You know, dipshit dictators who want to take over the world are often crazy.
Incompetent. The next day they'll say something.
Well, you can be crazy and incompetent. We can't all be Hannibal Lecter.
So the last time I was at the hospital, probably a year ago, a little less than a year ago.
A year ago, a little less than a year ago. Okay. The last time he was at the hospital, a year ago, little less than a year ago. He was at the hospital in November and then again in January or February, mid-February. He's been twice. If this is a third time, then he's been 3 times.
I asked the doctor, I said, is there some kind of a cognitive test that I could take? Because
Is there a cognitive test that I could take? I'm curious. Is there something I could take, you know, just to shut people up that you got in your desk drawer right there, you know, something? Do you have some blocks I can arrange in an order, or
I've been hearing about it because I want to shut these people up. They're fake news. They make up stories. I mean, like, I'll do an interview with you. I didn't say you can't ask me about this. I say ask me anything. I did one.
Yeah, you just edit it out later, like all the shit we saw cut out of the Chris Wallace interview.
With Chris Wallace, he was nice enough to say, he said, I just want to tell the audience there was no question that's off bounds. Okay, and
yeah, we just cut out huge chunks of it. Hold on.
Interview. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And it was good. But I didn't say you can only ask this, you can only... We have to be sharp. If you're in the office of the presidency...
Yep, you got to be sharp. So show us how sharp you are, big boy. Let's see it. Whip out the Sharpie. That's why I use a Sharpie, because you got to be sharp. Ding. That's his ad campaign after it.
You have to be sharp.
So I want to test the kind of test you give someone after they've struck themselves in the head repeatedly with a rubber mallet and refused medical attention for 6 hours.
So they were saying all these different things. It was going...
He didn't take an IQ test. That's the thing. He thinks this is an IQ test. He thinks you can ace an IQ test for one, which you can't. There's no like 100 or a 0 on an IQ test. It gives you a range of your intellect.
All over. Whichever stuck. None of it stuck, fortunately. But one of the reasons it...
I mean, I've tried and I've done very well, and I'm incredibly smart. Sorry, it's just true.
Didn't is that I took...
Everybody on this stream who's really knows the backstory of why I had to take IQ tests as a kid.
Test. I said to the doctor, it was Dr. Ronnie Jackson, I said...
Dr. Ronnie Jackson was not his doctor last year.
Is there some kind of a test?
That was over a year ago then.
An acuity test, and he said there actually is.
An IQity test?
And he named it.
Acuity test?
Whatever it might.
Is there a cute IQ test that I could take? Sort of an acuity test.
Be. And it was 30 or 35 questions. The first questions are very easy.
Like they'd ask you, is a truck about to back over you?
Last questions are much more difficult. Like a memory question, it's like you'll go person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Camera, TV. You like do that. You'll go like that. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. God damn, I wish SNL was on the air right now.
So that's
Alec, wherever you are, get at this.
Could you repeat that?
We were laughing midway through. Can you finish it, please?
So I said, yeah.
Yeah? What is this? A test or something?
That's person, woman, man, camera, TV. Okay, that's very good.
Okay.
If you get it in order, you get extra points. If you
Oh my God. If you get it in order, you get extra points. You get a gold star, and during recess, if it's raining outside, you get to use one of the iPads.
Okay, now
And you can play as many games as you want, and you don't have to do the reading for the day.
he's asking you other questions. Other questions.
Yeah. Oh, look at this dude. He's like, you're stunning, Mr. President. This is an incredible, a riveting story. I couldn't be happier to be standing here right now because no one knew who I was until just now, when this clip is going to be played all over the place because this is the dumbest thing I've ever witnessed in person.
And then 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes later, they say, remember the first question? Not the first, but the 10th question?
Oh, what? Oh, they're trying to mess with you now? Is it the first or the 10th? What do you mean? Actually, I think you'll find it was the 10th question. Oh my God, you're so good.
Give us that again. Can you do that again? And you go person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Camera, TV? I had to look at the camera to remember it's camera. I looked right at the camera. So I used mnemonics. A lot of people, I have a mind palace, but it's always the same place.
If you get it in order,
I have a mind bathroom.
you get extra points.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Extra points. Christ. Also, kangaroo. I don't know if you noticed this, but if you want to know, right before person, woman, man, which is a thing. I don't know if you know that. They put them on doors next to each other. Often you will see the woman, man. It's 2 doors. They have a woman, man on them. Camera, PD. When you say that, you get the biggest, most beautiful chocolate cake.
They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy.
It's easy because, I don't know if you know this, if you stare directly at an eclipse.
And that's not an easy question.
Yeah, it is. It's not an easy question if you've had a frontal lobotomy.
They ask it to you. They give you 5 names and you have to repeat them. And that's okay.
That's okay. You know, it's allowed. I'll allow it.
You repeat them out of order. It's okay, but you know, it's not.
Yeah, he's a medical doctor allegedly. This is now it's getting a little long. Now the story's starting to worry the doctor. He's starting to wonder if it's a violation of his medical oath to not report this man to the nearest white van with a butterfly net.
Good. But then when you go back about 20, 25 minutes later and they say, go.
You're still doing the test 25 minutes later? Test is a page long.
To that question. They don't tell you this. Go back to that question and repeat them. Can you do it? And you go, person, woman, man, camera, TV.
How many? Jesus Christ. Is this the 4th time? Jesus.
They say, that's amazing. How did you do that?
Really? Are they crying with laughter when they do it? Dude, say it again. Everybody come in here. Mr. President, show us again how intelligent you are. You'll do it. Just, okay. Go ahead. Show them all, Mr. President.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
That was awesome. Do it again.
I do it because I have like a good memory, because I'm cognitively there.
Honest to God. Really? He's impressed. This dude is impressed. His followers are impressed. And by the way, you know there's some QAnons at home going, that was a code. That wasn't in the really test. We all use the same hand gestures. You've got to write it down. Dot, dot, dash, dash, dot, dash, dot. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. Watch TV tonight. Watch for the guy holding the camera. The woman, man. Remember the picture we showed earlier with the girl in the short skirt and stuff? The guy couldn't take his eyes off, and the weird guy with the mask who was part of the deep state and the envelope and all that kind of stuff. Person, that's you. That's Q, is person. Woman, man. Marriage is between A. Right, right, right. We get that. Right, right. Woman, man. Camera, watch, full eye. There's a camera in the basement of Comet Ping Pong TV where we get all of our information. Now, some people think that actually makes me a laughingstock, but that's actually a good thing, not a bad thing, because most people
should take that test because something's going on, and I say
he has a stutter. He has a stutter. And sometimes when people are stuttering, they have to find an alternate word because the word that they're going to use won't come out. That's part of the reason why he makes gaffes. But he doesn't draft legislation based on his stutter. That's what's going on. It's 100% what's going on. What's going on with you, no one knows. Well, we have some idea. Benzos and Adderall and Sudafed crushed, snorted in rails, man diaper. We've got a general picture.
with respect. I mean, it's going to probably happen to all of us, right? You know, it's
Some of it's happening right now. We're watching it.
going to happen. But we can't.
Did his hair just have, did that happen? Did that just happen? The weird, all right.
Take a chance of it happening. When you're dealing with Russia, and there's nobody been tougher to Russia than me, nobody been tougher to China than me, I can tell.
That's because the Congress has put more sanctions on Russia and China since you got in office because they helped you get elected than at any other time in history since the Cold War. And by the way, I'm fairly certain Reagan was threatening nuclear annihilation at Russia regularly. So as far as toughness goes.
Right now, they would love to see Joe Biden instead of Trump. We've taken in billions and billions, tens of billions of dollars from China, which they never gave us anything. They had the
No, we haven't. That was a trade deficit. You still don't know how they work. You're a moron. Continue.
worst year before the plague came in. They had the worst year in their, just about in their history, 67 years. It was the worst year they had in 67 years before the plague. And
because of financial overreach. It has more to do with their real estate market, which is going to take a giant shit in the next 3 years.
we're doing great. We had the best economy. But we have to have somebody that's sharp.
Oh, so you're stepping down?
If this person isn't sharp, because I can tell you, President Xi is sharp.
Apparently, he outmaneuvered you, got you caught up in a $50 billion agricultural buy that you were so giddy about, you allowed him to drop a bioweapon on the United States and kill 148,000 Americans?
President Putin is sharp. Erdogan is sharp.
Well, the instruments he uses to carve up dissidents is sharp.
You don't have any non-sharp people that you're dealing with.
Non-sharp.
And we can't have somebody that's not 100%.
So non-sharp and unhappy. Are we going to make a list of new Trump words just written into the dictionary in Sharpie just cuz?
So what I did is when it's a public test, and he said, if you take this test, we may have to reveal it. I said, it's all right. I mean, is it tough? Tell me about it. I'd never heard of it.
Don't reveal it. If it's hard, I'm not going to take it because you'll show people.
And I got a
It's easy, right? Yeah, it's super easy. Okay, well, and I'll pass it? Oh, yeah, we'll make sure you pass it. How long do I have? Well, it's a page long. So, like, half hour? Yeah, great. By the way, can Kellyanne or anybody from my office come in and whisper in my ear and pretend it's presidential business if I look like I'm staring off into the middle distance? Absolutely, Mr. President. Because you know that happened. You know while he's taking the test, and they're like, can you recite those words back to us, and we went, hold on, I think they're signaling me. Hope, did you want to say something? And she comes in and she goes, person, woman, man, camera, TV. And he's like, thank you very much. Tell him, tell Pooty Poot I'll call him right back. Let's see, what was your question? Oh yes, let me think right off the top of my head. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. That's amazing.
Mark. And the
half an hour. Half an hour. That page is, it's like a page and a half long.
doctors were, they said very few people can do that. Very few people get that.
No. Very few people who just blacked out 2 minutes ago can do it, maybe. But if you give them a half hour.
You understand, it's not that easy.
It's super easy.
There were other questions tougher than what I just did. But it's not that easy. But as soon as they announced my score and that test,
93.
all the stuff went away about me. Is he competent? Remember, they're talking about 25th Amendment and nonsense.
Yeah, and then people found out what test you actually took because you said it, and everyone went, oh shit, 25th Amendment.
And they said, wow. And even the
Biden still hasn't take one question from reporters. Why? Well, I think he insists that the word taken have an N on it, Stu.
They don't say that anymore. But they do say it about Joe Biden. And honestly, he should take the test. In a way, as an obligation to, because you have to be able to show this country that the person that we're picking as leader is sharp, because we're dealing with people that want to do very bad things to us if they had the chance.
Yeah, he knows that. He's debating you.
And you have to be sharper than them.
Yeah. Please keep saying he's got dementia. Please keep saying he's slow and he's lost a step and all that stuff, because he's going to eat your lunch at the debates.
So in a certain way, Joe Biden has an obligation to take a test like that one or something else.
What's your plans going forward?
That was an edit. Did you see that? You can ask me any questions you want.
Testing, pool testing, or how are you going to approach it?
Well, I'm going with the experts. I happen to think, we're doing more testing than anybody in the world by far. I think second is India with 12 million. We're going to be at over 50 million tests this weekend. And to me, every time you test, you find a case, and, it gets reported in the news, we found more cases. If instead of 50, we did 25, we'd have half the number of cases. So I personally think it's overrated.
No, we wouldn't. God damn it. You have as many cases as you have, not as many cases as you find. You can't get rid of sexual assault in the country by not prosecuting anyone.
But I am totally willing to keep doing.
We wouldn't have all this crime if we didn't have all these police.
We have so many more tests than any other country by far. And the president of Mexico came to see me. I said, what do you do? And Mexico's got some very big problems. I mean, they test when somebody goes into a hospital. They might test a little area, but it's very limited testing. And this is true with most countries. We're spending a lot of money on mass.
Yeah, we're immensely more wealthy than Mexico. Like, off the charts. It's an absurdity. What'd the president of Papua New Guinea do? Or they have a prime minister?
Testing, and I'm okay with it. The experts are saying it's a good thing to do, but we've done 50 million tests, and India, pretty big country, 1.4 billion people, they've
yeah, fake numbers, but go ahead.
Done 1/3 of the number of tests that we've done, 1/4 of the number of tests that we've done.
So we're doing better than a country where they have a problem with public defecation. All deference to India, and certainly a lot of my Indian friends who come over to the United States know this and talk about this, but they have to run ads so people don't poop in the street in India, all over the place, even in big cities. It's ridiculous. And he's thinking that we can compare ourselves culturally to a circumstance like that. And we get
So I'm okay with it if they want to do it, but it makes us look bad. But they say it's good. I don't mind looking bad if it's a good thing.
Well, I don't know that you have a choice.
Think of it. If instead of 50 million, we did 25 million, we'd have half the number of cases.
No, we would not. We would not have half the number of cases. We would have found half the number of cases. You're a moron.
Cases would.
No, I'm not. Person, woman, man, Camera TV.
Be done. Here would be the normally headline. Not for me, it wouldn't be, but for anybody else, they'd say cases cut in half, okay? But they wouldn't report it that way.
No, they wouldn't. You'd have to go backwards and stop measuring.
As a father and a grandfather, what do you want to see happen with schools? What will you do?
I'd like to see them open. And
why? Because you need daycare for people to go back to work, because you think the economy is the only way you're going to win, because you can't adapt.
And the children, whether it's immune system, I guess it's, I was watching you one night, you said immune system. Whatever it is, they're a lot stronger than we are, because it just doesn't have an impact, doesn't have almost any impact. It's a tiny percentage of 1%. It's like meaning much, much less than 1%. I'd like to see the schools open. The country has to open. You know, we did the right thing. We closed it down. We saved millions of lives. Now we're opening it up. And I think the Democrats are actually doing it largely for political reasons. They think the economy won't be as strong because we're doing very well with jobs.
Yes, the economy won't be as strong if a bunch of the workers are dead.
So we broke the record 2 months in a row with job numbers. I really believe the Democrats are doing this for a political reason. If you close down...
That's because you're projecting, because you're opening the schools for a political reason. And that's only because you're so stupid you can't find the political win in keeping them closed. You are incapable of adapting. Your people, the same ones who aren't going to take the vaccine that you come up with,
California, you know,
won't vote for you if you seem to be backing down. Like, they said you were unpatriotic for wearing a mask.
Big state, you close down some of these places, it's not going to show. Watch, on November 4th, everything will open up.
No. And if that's the case, then bring on the Democrats. Because holy shit, they are the most Machiavellian, powerful group of people in the world. We have our own Pentaveret that way.
Masks. There's a difference of opinion between two great governors that both support you. Governor Abbott in Texas, universal mask policy.
Is that guy getting more orange as we're talking?
In Florida, Governor DeSantis, who I have a great deal of respect for, is not putting in that mask policy. Certain counties have it. Is there a role?
Yeah. And how's Florida going?
A role you will play in talking to the governors about masks? I'm not talking about a universal mask.
On the masks, my attitude is that when I was at the hospital, I felt very comfortable wearing the mask.
Who gives a shit about your comfort level?
I was seeing young people that were hurt very badly in military situations. And I felt for them, not for me, I felt for them, my wearing a mask was a good thing. I felt...
That's why you wear a mask. That's the primary reason, is for you. Because you can be asymptomatic and spread this disease, stupid.
Extremely comfortable.
Oh my God.
I don't feel comfortable in other settings when I'm all...
Who gives a shit about your comfort level? I'm not comfortable living through a pandemic. What are you talking
by
about?
myself on a stage and everybody's way far away. I don't think it's something that you have to do or should do. But everyone around me is
You what?
tested, so I'm not...
Everyone around me is tested. No, you went to that fundraiser. Not everyone at that fundraiser was tested. That's a lie. You went to that thing right after you posted the picture of you wearing that.
Perfect person to talk about it, but I believe that you should wear it, even if there's a 1% chance it helps. You know, when you look at Dr. Fauci and others, and this isn't a knock because this is just a way, if you look early on, they were all saying, don't wear a mask.
No, they weren't. They were saying, don't buy up the medical masks. They were saying, stay home. We're running out of PPE. One of the reasons we were running out of masks is because people were buying them for personal use. People were scooping them up. People were buying giant boxes of them and sending them to China to their relatives.
Don't wear a mask.
Does he think we all didn't live through this? Christ.
That didn't make total sense to me, but don't wear a mask. Now.
Yeah, well, a lot of things don't make sense to you. Like why person, woman, man, camera, TV, saying that 5 times on television makes everyone worry for the fate of the earth because you have the nuclear codes. That seems to...
They're all saying, wear a mask. My attitude is...
They're saying wear a mask but they're saying don't wear the medical masks that nurses and doctors need. Plus, they were just trying to get everybody to stay the shit home.
It probably helps. Give it a shot because we have to win this thing. So
it probably works. Give it a shot because we have to win this thing. Then wear a mask everywhere and do it as an example and go, anytime you go out in public and you can't social distance, even though I'm the president, there might be somebody here at this party and I'm not aware of it. Be all over the surfaces and I don't know. So I'm going to wash my hands and I'm going to wear a mask and I'm going to nuke every hurricane, right? And I'm going to, yeah.
It's not a question of pride. It's not a question of anything. We have to win this. So when you're in a certain situation.
It was a question of pride. It's why you wouldn't wear the mask. Because you thought after you wore it, the biggest piece of news was you thought you looked good in it.
I think you should wear a mask.
Nursing homes, big fiasco.
You're going to be in one soon.
Percent of the deaths in this country in nursing homes. The governor of New York, who, as you know, was involved in this whole issue of great number of nursing home deaths in New York, is now going around the country advising people on how to get out of a hotspot situation where of New York did really well.
Yeah, they learned from it. They were going through something and they recognized that there were problems and they fixed those problems. They may have even been late in fixing those problems, but they attempted to. There's a huge difference between people who went through something, learned through the process, and some jackass who's only now wearing a mask because the red states are hit and he's afraid his voters will die if he can't talk them into protecting themselves.
What do you think about him blaming the federal government for what happened in the New York nursing homes?
Well, he did, and he was hit so hard that he stopped doing that. He was trying to say that he listened to a guideline, because really it was common sense. We gave them a
guideline, he paid attention to it, and a bunch of people started dying, and then he adapted and stopped using our guideline.
Tremendous facility that they really didn't use. We built a hospital with 2,800 beds. They could have.
Yeah, you're not bringing people in their 80s in elder care facilities into New York City during a pandemic or up on a ship by transporting them. Most of them couldn't stand the move.
Use that. That was clean, 100% clean. And unfortunately, they made it. It was a mistake, and it was a sad mistake. But he's worked very hard. I mean, in all fairness to Governor Cuomo, he's worked very hard. We've gotten along.
Oh, the mangina is really rough today. Look at that double tuck. That has to. How does that not take work? Look at that right here. Just the like you'd have to pinch it on purpose, wouldn't you? I mean, that's gross. Get a like one of those things someone takes a picture of up close, and you're like, "What am I looking at?" And then they back up, and you're like, "God damn it!"
Very well. I think overall, he's actually said we've done an outstanding job. He actually said he's done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, and then that was in the early part of it, and then you continued to screw up, and he's like, yeah, not so much.
The federal government standpoint. So we moved the ship in. We had a lot of room there. It wasn't utilized.
Yeah, it was a big, yeah, you delayed it. You took it out of dry dock while it was getting repairs before it was needed, instead of supplying them with another facility or letting the facility get close to filled up, which would have taken days even at that standard. It never got filled up, and you put the ship there because you wanted to go wave at the ship because you thought it looked military-esque and stuff, and you delayed the ship leaving until you could make a speech. They held the ship until you finished your remarks. If it was an emergency and it was super important, why the shit would you stand there yapping?
It's like it could have.
Especially since those kind of boats take time to leave. You could go, hey, you know what? We're going to come down here and make our remarks. If they start moving, I'm just going to keep talking because they got to get out of here. And just keep, but they didn't. They cued it after he finished his speech, and he stood there waving at it like a dumbass waving at the bus.
And we had the Javits Convention Center where we had 2,800 beds built. And
you built the beds. They assembled them. They were in storage. You know where those beds were? They were in the cupboards.
That wasn't used, or certainly not very much. It would have been great in retrospect if they.
No, because they found out that viral load was a problem with this one, where other coronaviruses, that wasn't the case. So if you were around other sick people, you could jack up the amount of viral load in your body and it would make you sicker. So storing people who would get through it in someplace like the Javits Center would be a mistake. So you want to keep them at home, especially if they can convalesce by themselves.
Would have used that for some of these patients. Moving infected people back in certainly was not the answer. We're very, very careful all over the country. I mean, you wouldn't even have to be. Every governor watched that, and they're all, I think nursing homes right now are very heavily protected. They have to be, but they're very heavily protected.
Yeah, against your guidelines that you initially sent out.
Is a big advisor of yours that isn't getting
Everybody's using the standard that Inslee put in place.
enough attention. Of course, everyone gets slammed, but I'm disturbed about that because
Oh, he has one too. Christ, do they all go to the same necktie school? Jesus. Ah.
a woman. Can you talk to me about her role?
So I think she's one of the finest people I've ever met in the world of medicine, medical. You know, she
medical
is responsible for all of the incredible work that's taken place on AIDS in Africa. Millions of people are alive right now because of her. She's an unbelievable woman, a woman of tremendous substance.
She's our AIDS ambassador. And she's not singularly responsible for this. And by the way, her entire legacy has been flushed down the toilet being an apologist for you.
And style, frankly, she has an amazing style. She walks.
Oh, really? We're going for scarves? He's going to bring up the scarves. She did a bunch of work for AIDS, which is fantastic. And her scarf line.
Into the room, and she can take a scarf and do 50.
Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. Yeah, going gonzo. I don't know why they don't have subs parked off our coast right now as this is happening.
Things with it, and she is really somebody that, and that's the least important thing. She is.
Well, then why did you bring it up? Why would you bring up the least important thing?
A brilliant woman. She's a great woman. She gets some very unfair treatment, in my opinion.
Thank you, Nikki. I'm almost done. There's only a couple minutes left.
I read one story in the New York Times, which is fake news largely.
I read something good about her, but it's probably bullshit.
But they want to knock her. I think they knock her because she probably is on my side.
Yeah, no, they want to knock her because she's talking out of her ass.
But she is a fantastic woman who's done a fantastic job. Long before this came up, she was involved in things. You have to look at her background. Her background is incredible. She's a.
By the way, thank you guys for being with me today. We've only got a couple of minutes left, so don't forget to give a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe. And if you're like I said, if you're at Facebook and you don't want to be surrounded by QAnon nutheads because they've all been broomed out of Twitter and need someplace to go, and they've all gone to Facebook, hop on over to infotainmentwars.com to the YouTube page and like and subscribe over there. That'd be lovely. I'd appreciate that. There's a bunch of you, so why not? Come on. And yeah.
Brilliant woman who's a fine, fine person.
Sinestro Commander says, you know how hard it is for a Republican to have a bad Fox News interview? You need to talk about random things and talk about nothing. Well, this is impressive. This is next level idiocy.
Final question.
Final question. We've really screwed the pooch here, so I'm going to have a hard time topping this out.
It's been very over-politicized, the virus. Very disappointing to me as a physician.
It's been very over-politicized. Why aren't you looking him in the eye when you say this? Why are you not looking at him as you say this has been over-politicized? Perhaps because you know he's the one over-politicizing this. And had he just taken a rudimentary leadership role in the very beginning and stayed firm to that, not giving a shit about his alleged poll numbers, he would have actually been winning by now. But he's too self-involved and stupid to know this.
Can you talk to me about that and lessons you have learned that you would take into the second term in fighting COVID-19?
Oh, we're going to be fighting it all during the second term. It's been a big winning issue for me. People like COVID so much, I'm going to bring it back next year.
It's
Thank you, Robin.
Highly political, and the Democrats are using it for political reasons and political purposes, and it shouldn't be. This should be a team effort.
Yeah. So why can't we get you on the masked team until it affects your side of the field? Until a Confederate statue might catch it?
But regardless, to a certain extent, it is what it is. It's going to burn out, but we're going to have vaccines. We're going to have therapeutics. Some of the therapeutics.
So if it's going to burn out, what the shit do we need you for? Let's just vote Biden in now. Honestly, if you're not going to be part of fixing this, then what do we need you for? Why is there even a president?
that we already have are really working well. The remdesivir, the hard part is getting so much of it.
Yeah, you think?
The steroid work, and I mean...
The steroid work. The steroid work. You mean dexamethasone? Okay, hold on one second. I'm doing some pruning.
I must tell you, you know, some of the things that are happening are incredible. They're saving a lot of lives. But we're going to have an...
Yeah, thanks, Oxford. And by the way, it was South Korea that discovered the efficacy of remdesivir. It came from a company over here. It was made in conjunction with taxpayer dollars. They're charging us top dollar for it, but it was partly made by the taxpayers, and it was the South Koreans who figured out that remdesivir helps. While we were dicking around with hydroxychloroquine and fishbowl cleaner, they were figuring out remdesivir. And dexamethasone and thank you so much, beta interferon is also a National Health Service discovery in the UK. So all the therapeutics coming out of there, 6 different vaccines all around the world. Thank you, Christine F. All basically the same substance.
Short period of time, we're going to have some really good therapeutics. We're also going to have some really good vaccines.
Oh, they just faded out. Jesus. There was no thank you. There was no goodbye. What the hell did he say that they had to just end it? Did you see that? I didn't fade that out. That was not me. That was not me. Thank you, Frank. Thanks to everybody who donated today and was supportive of the show. We only exist because of you. This is until live shows return or production goes back. This is the career. This is the gig. So if you appreciate it, appreciate your support. I don't mind. Ain't too proud to thank you for supporting the show. Thank you to our patrons. You guys are awesome. I think we have 309 at the last count. We're looking for 500. And considering there are finger painters who have 1,000, I think we can do it. What I do requires at least the effort of finger painting. Maybe. Cup of coffee a month. It's never been easier to be my boss. My agent hates it, but you'll love it. And if not, you can always super chat, or you can go to paypal.me/HalSparks and support us that way. And if you can't, because shit is hitting the fan and you don't have the financial means to do that kind of thing, just come back every day, be entertained. We'll get through this. Because we need to know what the leader of the free world and our president is saying, but we have to absorb it in a way that won't give us brain cancer. We will all just joke our way through it, line by line, calling out the bullshit, focusing, recognizing the lies when they happen, like all that BS about the biggest tax cut in history that he said last time, or the horse shit about veterans' choice in 2014 that Obama signed into law, but Trump takes credit for. I have taken credit for more of other presidents' work in the first 3.5 years of my presidency. And if I hadn't put on the China ban, they said everyone was against it the way I wanted to do it. They basically said, they called it a sieve. So, yeah. There's the notes on travel ban. All right, there we go. So you guys are awesome. I appreciate you. I got to run off and take my kid to ninja class. You're fantastic. Much love to you. I will see you guys tomorrow. And, of course, the radio show is on Saturdays. Live call-in radio show. I have it every Saturday. And it's 9 to 11 Pacific time, a.m. on WCPT Radio in Chicago, 11 to 1 Central time, if you're in that area. And I'm on every Saturday. We do a little post show afterwards, and then I'm on every day of the week. Sunday's kind of variable on what the content is, but every day about 3 o'clock. I say about 3 o'clock because since they've started doing these, they go back to a bunch of different things. And Tara, thank you for asking. You can donate either by going to paypal.me/HalSparks if you want to do it that way, super easy, or you can become a Patreon subscriber, patreon.com/HalSparks. It's pretty much the uniform across the board on YouTube. Folks, and yeah, so there's a couple of different ways. Either way, just come back. It's fun. So every day about 3 o'clock, and like I was saying about 3 because he's been doing these things, and I don't want to get it too far back where people will think I've done my homework and watched ahead of time, because when I say something witty and nail it, I want you to know that it was spontaneous. But I want to also thank the president for all the brand new drops he's given us.
We have that. It's as wide as it can be.
That's a good one. And
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. Give us that again. Can you do that again? And you go person, woman, man, camera, TV. 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes later, they say, remember the first question? Not the first, but the 10th question? Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They say, that's amazing. How did you do that?
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Oh, I made a louder one of that one too.
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Because a lot of people were saying that he's really saying Nicaragua, and I got it wrong. But like the carrot one, I went back and made it louder so you can actually hear it.
You'll have nobody guarding your potatoes. And you know, when you say per capita, there's many per capitas. It's like per capita relative to what?
Right. So anyways, I'm going to sign off. Got to go. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself. Take care of somebody else. And remember, we will get through this. And we love the good cops. We just want the bad cops broomed faster. And we kneeling or disrespecting the flag, unfortunately, is part of what makes our flag great. Or fortunately, I would guess. Fortunately is what makes our flag great, because the freedoms that it represents are so strong that you can't destroy it by disrespecting it. See, that's the cool thing about it. If you try to take those things away, that's how you disrespect the flag. Removing freedoms, even when they include the desecration of the flag, remove the value of the flag itself. Also, peaceful exchange of power, democracy, whether you like it or not. And to all the maggots, trolls, and QAnons that are out there, I'm sorry you live a fart-sniffing existence with this giant orange monstrosity. But I will say, don't die of COVID. I don't want you to get ill. I want you to survive this. And please vote like the rest of us. Vote.org. Make sure you're registered. Everybody make sure you're registered. I don't care what party you're in. Just make sure you vote. It's a representative democracy. I would rather lose on the field of ideas legitimately than have people just check out. So get involved. Vote. One person, one vote for it. That's why I'm a Democrat. See, that's how we work. Republicans tend to think in terms of, we're not really a democracy, we're a constitutional republic, and therefore states and electoral college. I'm a one person, one vote kind of a gal. So vote.org, make sure you're registered. Take care of yourself, take care of somebody else. We'll see you next time. Bye. Have some fun during all this craziness. We'll get through it, I promise. We will.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Man, I'm tired of being right.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
I do it because I have, like, a good memory, because I'm cognitively there.
To be a moron, to be moronical, an imbecile.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They say, that's amazing. How did you do that?
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Did have shade.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my underground lair.
"10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes later, they say, remember the first question? Not the first, but the 10th question?
I'll use small words that you'll be sure to understand, you warthog-faced buffoon.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
That's great psychology. Why don't you just say something bad about my mother?
Lady, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store.
How, in the name of Zeus's butthole, did you get out of your cell?
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
You lied to me!
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
Did have shade?
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
We have that. It's as wide as it can be.
Would you classify that as a launch problem or a design problem?
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Shut up and never say anything again as long as you live.
Who wants some? Who's next?
Sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Just looking around here, I can tell you're a genuinely dirty person.
We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Carrot.
Man's got to know his limitations.
I do it because I have, like, a good memory, because I'm cognitively there.
Am I getting through to you? Over!
I love lamb.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
You using the whole fist, Doc?
10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes later, they say, remember the first question? Not the first, but the 10th question?
Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
Something strange happened to me this morning. Was it a dream where you see yourself standing in sort of sun god robes on a pyramid with 1,000 naked women screaming and throwing little pickles at you? No. Am I the only person that has that dream?